We're underway, and it will be Jolly against Everett. The matchup we have been looking forward to. Bolton first to it. Ladson clearing for the Hawks. There's Everett striding after it. Taken by Lewis. Played very well for Box Hill in the reserves last week. Back in the team. Williams there also. Crouch. High tackle from Franklin. And away goes Barry. So Ty Kennelly has some real space to move into here. Loves to run. Goods. Bad kick. Nice smother from Dixon. Here's a chance for Hawthorn. Here's Franklin again. Guerra getting plenty of the ball in that loose man option. Over the top. Crowd heads to the top of the square. Open forward line for Hawthorn. Richards wants the boundary line and finds it.
Well, the first instance, Guerra hasn't run back in, but certainly Jacobs has run strongly to become the one person sitting back behind the ball. Not sure Alistair at the other end. I hope there's been too many there to work that out.
But as expected, Leo Barry's gone with the Williams matchup.
Taylor has got the big job playing on Hall, and Sewell is on O'Loughlin. There's Kirk at the bottom of the pack. Jolly coming off 49 hit-outs last week. He'll have calluses on his hands. And we've got a boundary throw in.
Just like the start of Peter Everett, got his hand on the ball in the first contest and chased after it. Spilt the mark on centre wing, but just was showing, the intent was there.
Kirk was very good last week on Scotty West. Looks like he's got the job on Sam Mitchell, as we see Williams takes the ball over the line for a toss back in.
Well, the biggest matchup is Campbell, number 39, the big ruckman, playing back on Hall. That is a huge decision to make.
Well, they tried that a couple of weeks ago with Brown, didn't they, Alistair?
He was second starter on Brown. That didn't work either.
There's Lewis. Quick kick away. Over on the ball that time was Ty Kennelly. Buchanan. He's very good against the Bulldogs. Likes to back himself in. Taken away by Williams. The tackle comes. Here's Bateman trying to crash his way through. He's got McVeigh as his opponent. Been pinged. There we see Campbell playing on Barry Hall. Kirk. Inside defensive 50. Goes wide. Finds Ty Kennelly. Can go for a bit of a stroll. That's a beautiful kick. Here's Goods. Picking up a lot of possessions in recent weeks. This time can't control the ball. Sees over the line. 20 touches in the past 3 games for that man on screen.
Adam Goods has been very good in the recent month. He's got Dixon's going to try to run with him. A tough ask for Dixon.
Boundary throw in. Down in front for Sydney Bolton. Back to Davis. Puts Williams under pressure, but gets it back. It's usually a very good kick. High up and under. And taking a very good mark. Buddy Franklin. And going all the way back. A long way back to Campbell. Bateman, short. And the Hawks just slowing it up here. Player getting loose. Campbell Brown. Still on their side of the centre circle. Hawthorn. Sydney manning up well. Waiting for an option. He's still in 2 minds. That's not 15 metres. Play on the call. Lewis forced to go back to Smith. A little stop-start from the Hawks. They've turned it over. Ryan O'Keefe in the right spot for Sydney.
Yes, it's not going to work, Matt. It's not going to work by Sydney. They just don't use the ball well enough in that manner. They've got to take the risks and run. And
Ty Kennelly, the loose man for Sydney, given that Jacobs is back for Hawthorn, already looking much more dangerous. Here he is, and looking dangerous, Kevin, if he can kick straight. It's a poor kick.
Well, it's not what we anticipated. It wasn't the excitement machine we saw of Western Bullies and Collingwood. They tucked it underarm and went and made the play.
Swans have won their past 4 games by an average of 50 points. One of the hottest sides in the competition. Here's Jacobs, good enough to get the handball away. Sewell's got the job on O'Loughlin. Pumps the ball wide. Races on. Leo Barry leaping. Leo beaten by the pace of Williams. That's rare to see coming out of defence. And Williams lets fly with a big torpedo. Bounces just outside 50. Bumped off the ball that time. Good strong play.
Well,
he got Crawford.
He got clear though, Kev. You know, in the finish he had actually burned him off and got clear. If he just settled and used it a bit better, they might have got a better result. Just banging up at a torpedo punt was a very poor finish.
He must have heard Leaping Leo breathing. Here's Everett, pinched it. Inside 50. Rough head in front. Forced under the ball. Williams, first onto the scene. Again, backs himself in. Game number 302. A couple of bounces by Williams. Pleading for the ball was O'Keefe. Still he runs. Time for think music. Now he's caught too much. He's caught. This is what Jeff Kennett said. The grass is too short. He'll be happy now because Sam Mitchell has pounced on it. And they've got the free kick. It goes back to Ladson, goes short, looking for Franklin. This time it's stumped away by Malcheski, and we've got a boundary throw-in.
As a coach, you just love to see that. Fantastic chase, put pressure on the ball carrier, had no options up forward. In the end, a turnover. Just got to be better with the skills, as David touched on earlier. Must hit the targets.
Boundary throw-in, it's Everett. Working hard to get front spot. Was looking for Mitchell, but it falls for Bateman. 70 metres from goal. Squares it to the hot spot. Lovely kick. And it should pay off almost for Crow. Just didn't quite take it. Roughhead underneath Bolton trying to fish it out. It spills. Chance for Hawthorn. Lewis out wider. Mitchell wanted Bateman. Still going. Ladson trying to get it to Sam Mitchell. Throws it on the boot. And we have a score. First one for the evening, behind the Sam Mitchell. The intensity's there from the Hawks. The replay from Crow. He'd beaten Lewis Robert Thompson to the best position, just spilled the mark.
Their work rate's certainly there. I think the match committee for the Hawthorn Footy Club would be encouraged with the pace. They're prepared to back themselves and work hard up at the ball.
Lovely clearing kick. A set up Richards. It came from Kennelly into the forward 50. Davis with a little bump on Campbell Brown, and he'll go back. A shot on goal.
See, that was a great setup they coming out. I mean, they used Richards' run against Roughhead, who's slow, put the ball over the top for the kick. It's got 50 or 60 metres and gave him clear access and beautifully placed to Davis again over the top into it. Just terrific use of the ball. Kicked 4 goals against the Hawks in both their matches last season, round 1 and round 22, and he's coming off 3 last week. He doesn't miss too many. Swans have the opening goal at the MCG.
Magnificent transition. The ball was run up very quickly from the kick out, and that's the thing with when the ball goes through the point, you've got to be able to set up quickly and make sure you can get a player into space. Fantastic use of the ball, and Davis rarely misses. Just one of those potent forwards. Ball's in very good form, but the team isn't reliant on him to kick big numbers.
3 kicks and a goal. Fullback kicks the bloke on the wing, kicks the forward, kicks the goal.
Coming off that big game last week against the Bulldogs with 3 goals, 24 possessions. Not usually a high possession winner, Nick Davis, but he is a great kick. Everett to do the ruck work. Beaten that time. Jordan Lewis has come into the side, replacing Vandenberg. Here's Franklin in front again, forced under the ball that time by Malcheski. Crouch finds Kennelly. On the loose player is Ted Richards, now trying to set it up, goes short. Roberts Thompson. Played a bit forward last week, kicked a goal. He was a great player in the grand final. Ty Kennelly through the centre square, goes wide, looking for space. O'Loughlin needs a kind bounce and gets it. Looking for Barry Hall. And the big man stands his ground, goes short, drops it. That was Jude Bolton. They'll backtrack and they'll retreat, goes back to O'Keefe, who's well outside 50, tries to set up Everett with a big thump from behind. Great defensive play. Luke Bolton caught in the tackle by Williams and then dumped. Ball up just outside 50.
And this is where the Sydney Swans are so dangerous. We saw a number of times last week from stoppages forward of the centre, they do get shots on goal.
Jolly beats Everett on this occasion. Ablett at the bottom of the pack is again tied up in the tackle.
Well, the good thing, Kevin and Alistair, is that they're being matched at ground level. There hasn't been an easy one so far for the Swans because Everett's doing a good job, though lost him here.
Big punch forward from Jolly. Dixon got it from Sewell, gave it to Mitchell. And the Hawks clear. Lovely skills to Crawford. The Brownlow medalist on centre wing. Has a player running for him. Franklin, but Malcheski slipping in. Hamstring problem perhaps for Nick Malcheski. That doesn't look good. Nice spoil.
Well, it was, but there was no body, Matt, from Franklin. Just as his body, then he's got that possession.
Yep. Keep an eye on him. He's not moving freely at all. He almost got it back, but instead Sydney go through Kirk. Not his best kick, on the wrong boot for him. Out of bounds on the full. Malcheski is just getting some attention, or trying to get some attention. In the meantime, Danny Jacobs is on the switch for Hawthorn. He wants to be good. He is. Brown. Now Davis went too far. It allows Brown for the fast break. What can the Hawks do here? Trying to set up the loose man. Guerra can go back to Smith or back to Brown, or give it away. One of the worst kicks you'll ever see. Nick Davis for his second. There it is. All clear, one goal.
That was diabolical from the Hawthorn Football Club. The ball was being brought out through the half-back flank. There was Brown, Guerra and Joel Smith, and they stopped running. They refused to run. Joel Smith...
The fast break was on.
It was on, but Joel Smith didn't run to support, and then the turnover, and obviously broke down. And an opportunist like Davis is, he can find a goal, and he was running forward onto an easy goal. And that was a bad mistake from the Hawthorn Footy Club.
And it's destroying stuff on the basis that Guerra is probably the best user they have in the side, and he's the one that's delivered them the easiest goal they'll ever get.
Crouch off, and also Jude Bolton and Malcheski has left the field as well. So three-way change. Malcheski looks like he's done a hamstring. That's disappointing. He looked very, very promising last week. Here's Jordan Lewis, goes wide, looking for Ladson. Catches him on the run, goes short. A lot of carry on the ball. Franklin again was a target. Here's Williams. He's quick. He's a dead-eye deck around the corner. He has missed.
Well, the good thing that Williams is showing, the absolute speed which he can bring to this game. He doesn't always do it at the ball and after people with it. It's good to see.
Snyder from the kick out. Goes short. Finds the run of Fosdyke. He's on centre wing. Sydney running to space. And that's some hard running. Snyder from the back pocket. Roberts-Thompson. Could be mowed down this time by Williams. Kicks a high ball inside. 50. Pack of players, and that's a good grab by Campbell Brown, but the whistle is gone. And a free kick. We'll come back to Hawthorn. Luke Hodge. To Kane. Big transfer of play. Would have liked to see the young boy take off then and run with the ball and carry the ball rather than just standing his ground. And so he concedes ground to Jacobs. Could have ran the ball all the way down to the centre wing and then kicked it inside 50.
And that's his attribute. He can run and deliver, Kane. That's what he brings to the game.
Goes wide. Closing quickly that time was Campbell. Beaten for the ball. Chance for Hall. One of a kind bounce. Got an ugly one. Wraps Jacobs up in the tackle, and here he comes. Running into the open goal. Buchanan bangs it home.
And once again, the turnovers trying to run the ball out of defence. Hawthorn have a loose man defence. They should do this a little bit better, but you'd rather see them make the mistake by backing themselves, try to break the line, carry the ball. As we touched on, they are good ball carriers. They've got pace, but they're not showing it as yet.
Not a very good bounce for Jacobs. Found himself under pressure, but Buchanan gets the gift. The second gift so far for the Swans. Have got 3 goals.
It was a skew error that caused it, though. It wasn't a bad bounce. It was a skew error to miss a target again.
Tiffy down in the boundary. Nick Malcheski seemed to be a really innocuous hamstring.
Yeah, by the way they're assessing him at the moment, it seems to be more tightness in his hamstring, so they're still holding out hope to bring him back on.
Thanks, Tiff. 18-2 the score. Hawks need a goal here just to get some momentum. Stem the tide because they're under pressure in the back half. As Taylor has started on the bench. Gets from Smith. Now he's on the ground. He launches long. Crowed the target. Got to beat a couple. He won't. Kennelly, the loose man, slides over the back of the pack, and he's off and running. The contrast in these two teams very apparent at the minute as O'Keefe wider. Richards has run on. Hall. Now Hall wants some space. He said, O'Loughlin, you go out there. You can get it if you're good enough. There's a whistle on play. O'Loughlin gets the holding from Brad Sewell. Nice work between the two forwards. Good communication. And O'Loughlin, who Alistair mentioned was quiet last week, too far out to score with his kicking at the moment. Why not give it to Nick Davis? He doesn't miss too many. He's going to line up for his third of a quarter.
Well, where's Campbell Brown? I mean, Campbell Brown's the match with the speed and the tenacity, and it's left to a big slow bloke in Campbell to try and defend that. I don't understand that. When the game's been stopped for as long as it was, find your bloke, get the match up right, and this can't happen.
Nick Davis lining up for his third. It's close. Wrong side of the post. A let-off for the Hawks.
The news not good for Melchesky. They're now applying ice, so you would say that he is out for the rest of the game.
3-1-19 Sydney. The Hawks 2 behinds. Thanks for that, Tiff. Jacobs squeezed up on the boundary line. Finds Bateman. Ablett stands the mark. Extends the arms. Schneider running with the flight of the ball. He's got Kane to beat. Finds Ablett. He's across half back. Swans screaming for the ball inside the centre square. McVeigh pleading. And so was Fosdyke. Now he gets the hurry on. Ablett from half back. Wobbles the ball forward, and Williams just floats into his arms.
You've got to ask, how does that happen when Ablett held onto the ball for so long?
And here's fearless Fosdyke. He hadn't moved. He was still wanting that ball, and now he's got it. Goes wide, finds Ted Richards. The run will come. Leaping Leo to Fosdyke, to Richards, does a 360, breaks an easy tackle from Roughhead, hammers the ball in. Getting back that time was Hall, looking for the free kick. Does a bit of pointing.
An interesting note from the boundary line. Barry Hall just had a major crack at Ryan O'Keefe then, just for playing too far wide, so he's telling the guys to come back into the forward 50.
Thought Campbell may have been holding him then, Barry Hall. Fosdyke rockets the ball back, looking for O'Keefe. Bounces off the chest that time of Hodge. Cops one high. Should get the free kick. From the goal square, goes wide. Finds Kane. Dangerous kick because Adam Goods closes very, very quickly. Nick Davis, it was a look-away handball, didn't come off. Taken away by Clark. Back to Kane. Now some run to Birchall. Cross half back for the Hawks. Goes very short, looking for Franklin's. Got to attack the ball hard. Couldn't take it. Mitchell tried to paddle the ball along, taken away by Taylor. Back to Kane. Back to Sam Mitchell, the playmaker and the general. To Joel Smith. Now some run comes from Campbell Brown from half-back. Inside 50. Williams is the target. Limping Leo gets a fist to the ball. They've got the numbers back. Here's Jude Bolton. Just pounced on it. To Snyder. Rockets the ball along to O'Keefe. And all of a sudden the loose player's been set up, and here's Barry Hall.
Wonderfully measured kick from O'Keefe because Hall was in between two Hawthorn defenders. But
how good was that, Matt, really?
Yeah.
They're playing two on Hall and they still found him between them.
Yeah, measured kick, and he decides to go back to Fosdyke. Sydney really have control of this game at the moment. They lead by 17 points, but they are dictating everything that's happening on the ground at the moment. And somehow Barry Hall has an uncontested mark. A little bit too far at the score. He wants O'Loughlin and gets him. And this brings us back to preliminary final. I think they're about the same spot when they stormed home against the St Kilda team. They kicked that wonderful last goal, 7 goals in the last quarter, and O'Loughlin was involved in a couple.
Just a disappointing effort from Campbell there. Just had to lay body on Hall. Yeah. Just make a contest. Get the ball to ground.
A terrific shot of what is ahead. Michael O'Loughlin for the Sydney Swans 4th. It is coming back, but it hits the woodwork.
Can I just make the point that two blokes are looking after him? That's Hall. Two blokes, and you nominate Campbell. And neither went to him. I mean, neither really took the responsibility, so they used the ball twice to him without either making contact. That's a bit hard to understand.
This is Lewis for Hawthorn. Loose man out wide. Clark right on the boundary. Umpire in perfect position. The mark to Clark. Inside the last 6 minutes. It's a 3-goal lead to the Swans. And the game being played in their front half as Joel Smith has it now. Setting up the player. He's lucky to get a free kick there, Lewis. Not that it wasn't there, but the kick set him up. Couldn't run onto it. Coming off 36 disposals in the reserves. one of the 4 changes to the team. She looks dangerous again. But that is, in the end, a strong mark from Bateman, and it had to be because the Sydney were off again. They've already had a couple of gifts. Might get another one here. Chambers. Funny disposal. O'Keefe. McVeigh set up. Over the top came Bateman. McVeigh recovers well though. Player of his own, Nick Davis. This time Campbell Brown arrives. Davis waiting for someone to come and help out. Bateman there for the Hawks, taking his time, holding the ball. It'll be a Hawthorn kick against Nick Davis.
That was a let-off. Once again, the skills coming out of defence for Hawthorn. And another thing is that the Hawthorn players ahead of the ball aren't clearing space, aren't allowing to have a one-on-one contest and someone to run into it. They're just too crowded at the moment, too stationary.
Campbell Brown finds Lewis. Measures the kick. Clark. He's on centre wing. Dixon wants it short. Dangerous player. Can use the ball. Bounces off the chest of Craig. Maybe a bit rusty, David.
Oh, look, I think that's the third time, isn't it? He's got his hands on the ball above his head and against his body, and he's dropped the 3. So rusty, I think's the word. He has. What's his 3 weeks out? This is his third, and playing with a crook wrist. Don't forget that.
That was definitely an issue there, wasn't it? The wrist, just the way he went to hug the ball.
No doubt.
Adam Goods. Quick kick. Heads towards the boundary line. Sent over by Jacobson Hall.
Different tactic from Paul Roos tonight. Hawthorn have nominated to put Jacobs back as a loose man in defence. We saw last week against the Western Bulldogs. He kept rotating players forward to have even numbers in his forward line.
Taylor getting his hands on the ball. Kane did well. Finds Lewis. Strong young player. Keeps his body over the ball. Birchall hammers it inside 50. Players go to ground. Franklin. But the whistle is gone. Roberts Thompson will take the free kick.
And Trent Crowe just lost his foot in and dragged Roberts Thompson down with him. Gave the free kick away for holding.
Snyder, who's found his niche now in the back pocket. Uses the ball well. Fearless Fosdyke finds the runner Buchanan. O'Loughlin says, kick it to me in the pocket. Has a ping at the goals. He's way off target. He's out of bounds on the full.
The scoreboard shows that the Sydney Swans are up by 18 points, but I think they've let Hawthorn off the hook on a number of occasions over the last 10 minutes.
Ladson finds Birchall. Breaking left foot to Sewell, who started the game on O'Loughlin. Goes wide, so the Hawks just trying to generate a bit of run. And again, I'd love to see the Hawthorn players continue to run with the ball. Bateman marks in front of McVeigh. One of their gun midfield players kicks a high ball. Roughhead charges out at the ball. So does Crowe. Couldn't quite take it. Ablett can. Long raking handball, just rockets the ball to Jude Bolton. And here's O'Loughlin inside 50. Takes the grab.
Well, it's obvious that the loose man in defence is not working for the Hawthorn Football Club. I think they've got to match up the numbers. Sydney like to do that week in, week out, but let's go one-on-one with the Sydney Swans. Make sure you're all accountable for a man and you can't pass the buck to your teammate.
Sometimes has the yips with his kicking, David. We saw that in the grand final.
Yes, we did from this exact spot, Kevin.
He's a confidence player when it comes to his kicking. If he starts getting on target, and he's on target.
And probably may have put the end result well beyond the opposition in the grand final had he done that earlier.
He'd like to wind back the clock.
Yeah, this is a tough one, Alistair, isn't it? Hawthorn aren't being able to do initiate. They're actually doing reactive things to what Sydney are doing. They work Sydney so much harder and faster when they get the run from the numbers in the back half. I haven't seen Hawthorn. There's hardly been a genuine run off the back line for Hawthorn to this point. They stop every time.
2 minutes remaining in the first term. Almost a 2-minute warning here because the warning signs for the Hawks. 4 straight kicks. Kane trying to spin out of trouble. Bolton gets the clearance. He's so good at that. There's Barry Hall sliding in. And he can get home from here and make it a 5-goal lead.
As we just touched on, Fosdyke has pushed forward to be the 7th forward to pick up Jacobs so that they've got a one-on-one contest, and that's what we saw work so well against the Bulldogs last week.
30 goals for the season, Barry Hall. Once again in line for a crack at the Coleman medal. 52 metres out. We'll get the distance. Yep. We'll have the accuracy. Another goal to Sydney. It's all too easy.
It is too easy, and you've got a man like Barry Hall up forward, just such an imposing figure, regarded by some as the most important player in the competition. He just directs the ball, he draws the ball forward. Everyone's so confident to kick the ball to him. At least you're going to get a very physical contest and just spill the ball to his crummers. It is a very powerful forward line when you don't have to rely on Barry Hall, but you've got him up the sleeve to kick a bag every now and then.
Swans by 30 points, 5-2-32. The Hawks, 2 behinds. Sydney's won the past 4 games by an average of 50 points. Second behind West Coast for inside 50s.
Holding against Ablett on Hodge.
So Hodge will take the free kick. Just need a goal to lift the spirits. Roberts Thompson was the high flyer. Just couldn't quite hang on to the share and somehow was just spooned out. Jordan Lewis goes to ground. He's had it 10 times for the Hawks. Guerra trying to set it up, goes wide. Barry did well, made it a real contest. Franklin wrapped up in the tackle. Chance now for Kane. Needs clean hands. Gets around Ty Connelly. 45 metres out. Kane has missed. And the Swans very quick to react. They kick wide. And Williams just trots onto the ball. Again, nearly lost his footing. Finds Kirk. And the run comes from Adam Goods. Having a fantastic season into the pocket. Big bad Barry in front. This time the ball thumped away by Campbell. Boundary throw in.
Well, it was lovely to see a good contest. Campbell was with him, ran hard, bodied him and smashed the ball out of bounds. That's what you're right. They've got to take one on, not spread them around and zone defence down there. Take one, put them under contest. They put in the numbers back now. Let's work them over. 19 seconds. Time for Sydney to do something. Davis. Actually, Williams got in his way there. In and under Guerra. We'll have a ball up. And barring something very quick from Sydney, that'll be our quarter-time score. They got off to a flyer against the Bulldogs last week. It was 32-zip. At the moment, it's 32-3. In control. Doesn't matter regardless whether that's holding the ball or not. Jeff Kennett looks on. He won't be happy with what he's seen in the first quarter. A dominant performance by the Sydney Swans. A couple of goals, gifts from errors. Now we have a free kick on the play. After all of that, Eamon Buchanan is going to take a shot for goal. 55 metres out. He's off 3 steps. He's gone with a torpedo. He's got it to spiral. But you can't kick goals from 3 steps. I don't care. If you get it to spiral right, you've got to get some momentum up. But no score. It won't change the fact that the Sydney Swans have started well here at the MCG. They lead 5-2-32. The Hawks, just the 3 behinds, will be back in the second quarter after this break.
Sunday, Fox Footy's taking you way out west.
Chance for the electrifying Davey.
As Melbourne tries to outrun the Eagles, live at 4:30.
Davey burns him off, goes for home and kicks a goal!
But the home team is almost unbeatable at Subiaco, and the Demons know they're in for one hell of a contest. Join Clinton, Wayne and Jared for this Fox Footy Active Showdown. Your Sunday looks like this. Eagles and Demons live at 4:30. All the highlights on the winners, then Saints and Kangaroos and Lions Dockers.
We have the biggest range, and we offer you the best service, and we obviously have the lowest prices. So we're very, very proud of that.
Arlec portable floodlight, only $8.98. Mazito 2400-watt electric shredder, $269. Stainless steel kitchen sink, $79. 21-piece screwdriver and bit set, just $7.94. If you happen to find a cheaper price on a stocked item, we'll beat it by 10%.
Leave happy. We want the customers here to leave happy.
Bunnings Warehouse!
Lowest prices are just the beginning.
Your wife called.
She's from Swans.
Fun meets functionality with a new Motorola Razr V3X.
Hello, Moto.
It happens all the time.
Oh, yeah.
It gets into your mind.
Oh, yeah.
A voice keeps telling you.
Oh, yeah.
Only Hungry Jacks will do.
Oh, yeah.
I just gotta have it. Oh, yeah. They let me have it. Oh, yeah. Time to Hungry Jacket. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
High ball to centre. Boyd! Flying high. 3 deep there was Trent Crowe. What a mark.
Everett in the middle. Look at that. Quite brilliant, wasn't it? Driving ball forward. There's a contender. Gilby past the centre. Johnson takes the mark. How's that for a coast-to-coast goal?
Sharman. Good delivery.
Your complete AFL Matchday Guide. The facts and stats you need to know, plus the stuff you've always wanted to know. Grab a copy of the new AFL record.
With ingenious driver assist technology, an advanced active all-wheel drive system that anticipates when to engage, and 20% more interior space, the all-new RAV4 is bursting with uncompact thinking.
Diego Corrales and Jose Luis Castillo.
The rematch you've all been waiting for.
They've met twice before in thumping battles with the score 1 apiece.
Oh my goodness!
Now it's down to the decider.
Neither one giving an inch here.
And Australia's only world champ Vic Darchinian defends his titles against his biggest challenger.
It's a total myth that the smaller guys can't punch.
Corrales v Castillo and Darchinian v Maldonado. Live at home, June 4 at 11 a.m.
He challenged it. He only had 3.
See you, Nico. You're going to get a backhand on your birthday if you keep this up.
He challenged it. He only had 3.
See you, Nico.
Central Rewind, Wednesday on Fox Footy Channel.
I'll be there for you all the time. Once was the time.
It is quarter time on Saturday night football, and the Swans in control to the tune of 29 points. Davis has 2, O'Loughlin 1, Bolton and Kennelly 8 each in the disposal area. Lewis and Kane on top. That list for Hawthorn. In fact, Hawthorn have had more disposals than the Sydney Swans. Another game being played tonight. Another set of scores to come up. It's the battle for bottom spot on the ladder between Essendon and Port Adelaide at the Telstra Dome. We're going to show you a score. Replays coming on Fox Footy. If you don't want to know, you can look away now. Well, Alistair Clarkson holding his group for a while as we head down boundary side to Tiffany Cherry.
The Hawks were shades of it 2 weeks ago at Carrara against the Brisbane Lions when they were held goalless in the first quarter. Clarkson in that address giving them an absolute spray, asking them to show something. As for the Swans, leading into this game, they'd only used 24 players. That was the least amount of any of the teams in the competition. They're going to have to make a definite change for next week. Malcheski out with a hamstring.
Thanks, Tiff. And Alistair Clarkson, what's he saying, David? The coach's hat on him, he's just held him for a fair while there.
Well, I'm looking at the board. He was talking about matchups and roles that people to play. Spent a lot of time placing people on. Well, there wasn't much spruiking about the method that they should play. And to me, it'd be even frustrating for the Swans, I would think, that they haven't been able to predict the movement. And I would just... movement creates movement. Kevin made the point on the wing that Hawthorn players got hold of the ball, blokes that can carry and run, they had space ahead of them, and they chose not to take the space. Seems to me that they've got to take that kind of risk when the opportunity arises.
A quiet start for Hodge and Mitchell, 2 very important players for the Hawks. Ablett and Kirk doing the job as they do week in, week out. Very good at getting to their player, using him as a starting point and creating themselves.
Mitchell 5 disposals, Hodge 3, Crawford just the 1. They need the midfielders up and firing. Everett winning that knot. Swans everywhere though. Williams coming in quickly off the line. Little looping handball over the top, a set. Jude Bolton away. O'Loughlin's second in line. That's a courageous mark. And we know how courageous Campbell Brown can be. Backing back, and he's off and running, and head out to Lewis, who had those 10 disposals in the first term. Running hard for him on a long lead, Franklin. Right with him, good. Strong hands by Lance.
That was good run. He ran 110 metres from the forward pocket there. That's good work ethic.
And now
somewhat stifled now, though. And a little chip over the top. They're going to turn it over. Buchanan got in the way of Smith. The quick hands from O'Keefe to Ablett. Heading in the Hall direction. One-on-one. He loves it like this. Now, he could go over to O'Loughlin, and he does. Unselfish from Barry. And Mick O'Loughlin.
And that is the problem with skill errors. Campbell had run forward to assist, and Barry Hall was tailing by 5 metres. The turnover happened. The easy kick to Hall just set up an easy goal. It just kills you all the time if you can't hit a target coming out of defence.
His second for the night, his 15th for the season. Too easy for the Swans. They are making them pay for those skill errors.
Well, it's a Franklin kick. I mean, he didn't have too many options. The very movement that he created, nobody in turn gave him a real option. So he just bodied a short one to a one-on-one. It sat up in the air and it got absolutely murdered. Poor quick, poor option, but he didn't have too much else going for him. Very hard for a young player.
Just a snapshot there of the Hawthorn coach's box. Was the Clarkson just scratching the old noggin? What can they do, the Hawks? They trail 6-2, 38 to 3 behind. Maybe Trent Crode can lift the spirits. Roughhead leads into the pocket. He's been ignored.
He can get the journey here. He's certainly got this length in his kick.
Fancies his chances. He was back at Hawthorn. I can remember David Parkin sitting up in the grandstand talking to about 4,000 supporters when he went to Fremantle. At least he's back now, David. As he unloads, Trent Crode, the distance is there. Not the accuracy, and through for one behind.
And he's become a great player, and I think would be the key even in this game now to Hawthorn. If he gets up and goes, they're a chance to become competitive. Without him, I think they're going to struggle.
You can see the huddle there for the Swans, and they break wide. Jude Bolton.
And when you've gone man-on-man in the huddle, the priority is exactly what's happened. Stop the second kick. You concede the first one, but must stop the second one.
Bolton's coming off 32 possessions last week, plus he's the #1 tackler in the competition. That was clever play by Goods. And Davis just pushed off Campbell Brown. He's kicked a couple of goals. His confidence is high. Just floats it inside 50. Working hard that time was Campbell to Everett. Check side, kick wide. Crouch has got Crawford. Great hands. He rarely fumbles. Hops the ball up now, playing in front is Crode. Stands on centre wing. That's a powerful looking kick. A lot of pushing and shoving there. Thumped away by Ted Richards. Did well, the consummate defender as Dixon. Across to Williams. Again, under pressure, running towards the boundary line. He's put it out on the full.
Well, it's a bit more promising from Hawthorn's point of view, isn't it? I think Sydney is pressuring them, but Hawthorn have had a couple of very good responses to get thrusts in that might have ended up in the goals. They look just a little bit more vibrant.
At least they played the ball on very quickly, got the ball 150 metres away from their goal.
Swans set up in a huddle then, and then broke, and that's Everett. That's what we want to see from Spider. Floating across and wheeling around quickly. Good kick. Williams on the lead. Should go back and get the first goal for the Hawks.
See that rebound football then by Spider Everett, just spinning around on that left boot. All of a sudden, it made Williams lead, and he marks well in front of Leo Barry.
And once again, that predictability for the forward, it's very hard as a defender when a player. I mean, I had Craig McRae turning onto his left boot every time. I knew exactly what he was going to do as a forward. Very tough for the defender to stop that.
Williams, 40 metres out, kicks it. The Hawks have their first. Goal number 28 this season for Williams. And we don't have to say how much they needed that.
And he's got a beautiful technique. And I love watching him kick, and any young player watching this and sees the method that he uses, so balanced, so poised, effortless. And whilst he struggled a bit last week, he's put the one through as he should have tonight.
And there was Fido just wheeling around on that left boot, setting up the goal.
Kicked the goal for over a half, the Hawks.
Well, they trailed by just 28 points, 6-2, 38 to 1-4-10. In the context of the game, the Swans have dominated, but that doesn't really reflect on the scoreboard. Everett doing the ruck work against Jolly. To Bolton, pinched this time by Hodge. Collins is high, Williams goes wide. Crawford stands on 50, bends the ball back. Big pack of players in the goal square, trying to work his way forward. It's been taken over on that time by Roberts-Thompson. A little bit more spark now for the Hawks. Theo Barry. This goes short on his left side, finds Goods. Cross half back. Great smother that time by Mitchell. Holds the ball up on centre wing.
Well, everything's looking a little bit better at the moment, isn't it? Even the defensive work is a bit better, so that augurs well.
Swans by 27 points. Play just over 6 minutes into this second term. Here's Mitchell with Hodge, his partner in crime. Held up in the tackle. Lewis has had a good game so far. 11 possessions for Hawthorn. Kirk. 2 Bulldogs go at it. Mitchell and Kirk, we've got a ball up.
See, they're good, aren't they? Bolton and Kirk around the ball. They just hammer in. Love the way they go about their work.
Some good signs here for Hawthorn. Revved up by Alistair Clarkson at quarter time. Everett doing the ruck work. Bolton, kick half smothered. Plenty of players around the ball. Williams had it and lost it. Clever play that time by Dixon. To Ladson and finds Mitchell. Goes short. Here's Franklin in front. Was he manhandled? No free kick. It's a boundary throw-in.
But the Hawks are still pushing forward. They're not letting the Sydney Swans midfielders have any easy contest. They're all over them, and just pressure is putting the ball forward to a position where they can score.
Good signs here. Can they convert on the scoreboard from this boundary throw-in? Everett lays it down. Ladson, tough kick, trying to screw around the corner. It's a beauty. Lovely kick from Rick Ladson. Franklin will line up. Tough angle, left footer. They need to get some reward because their intensity at the contest has been terrific the last 5 minutes.
Oh, the momentum's with him, so he needs to score.
Yep. Lance Franklin. 20 games last season, 21 goals. This for his first for the year in his return game. Hawks for 2 in a row. Never. Always the wrong side of the post.
Just sapping for a team. I mean, that was a difficult shot at goal, but just if you can convert that opportunity, you've worked hard for 5 minutes. If you can just capitalise with a goal, everyone lifts, you go back to the centre, ready to go again.
Jared Crouch coming from the ground. He's had the job mostly on Crawford, but he's off at the moment. Here's the battle between Williams and Barry. Just holding his left arm. Crouch will head down the tiff shortly where there is a problem with him because he's headed for the rooms. Here's Goods. On the fast break, the Swans. Buchanan trying to use that body, fishes it out to Ablett. Inside 50, Hall again. Well done by Campbell. Got a hand to it. Davis can't get past Brown. Good tackle by Campbell Brown. Davis over the top of it. And we'll have a ball up inside the Sydney Swans 450, and Barry Hall gets up, not feeling the best on his haunches.
That man, Brown, has come back in and hit him very hard.
We're back with O'Loughlin, but it's stolen out of his hands by Sewell. Over to Campbell Brown.
That was very lucky because Sewell wasn't watching the play when that ball came out of the pack.
They're not out of danger yet, though. Dixon wrapped up by O'Keefe. Sydney with the numbers. Buchanan give on the up. Bolton the spot of the player leading into the pocket. O'Loughlin ahead of Sewell. And we'll have a boundary throw in.
He turned around and he was looking at O'Loughlin and he didn't know the ball got kicked out of the pack.
Well, he didn't realise that Peter Everett was going to kick it back that way. He thought Peter Everett would deliver it up the other end of the ground.
Boundary throw in. Everett works his way to the front. Taken away by Campbell Brown. Hawks have gone up a cog. Williams traps it. Can set it up. That's a poor kick. And Snyder was squeezed up on the boundary line. There's Barry Hall.
Guys, just before with Crouch, he actually came off the last couple of minutes in the first quarter and looked a bit down. I kept my eye on him, but he didn't receive any treatment, but obviously problems with his left shoulder, I would say.
Jordan Lewis working hard for the Hawks. Franklin playing in front of Goods. Didn't quite get his hands on the ball. Leo Barry to Buchanan. Back to Goods. Coming off 3 great weeks. By Kennelly. Barry Hall. He caught one from Campbell in that marking contest before. That's why he went down on his haunches. Finds fearless Fosdyke. And here's McVeigh. Without an opponent inside 50.
Too easy, and I think Alistair Clarkson and his coaching staff will be pulling their hair out there. You just cannot have that many people back in your defensive 50 and be able to find a target like that. It is just unaccountable football. Someone has let their team down there.
He's a much improved player, McVeigh. He's booted 8 goals for the season. He was very good last week against the Bulldogs. He's quick. Right to the line. Big pack of players. Chance now. Barry Hall had it and lost it. Just needed clean hands. Everett also was dispossessed. Here's a take 2 for Barry. Test of strength inside the goal square. Taken away by Campbell. He's won the Indian arm wrestle. Tried to poke the ball out. Now finally takes it over the line. There was some strength, David.
Oh, that's terrific to see. No, but a young bloke who struggled to find a place. He's actually out-wrestled Hall. And that is a sensational possession of the ball from the young kid.
Still a chance for the Swans. As Jolly, this time was pinched by Guerra, hurries the kick out. Crow attacks the ball. It's a great sign to Williams for that blistering pace. Comes away and kicks the space. So Franklin's got to run hard. Would have liked to see him take the mark rather than let the ball bounce. Skids over the line for a boundary throw-in.
Well, you're right, Kevin. He had the opportunity to work harder early to actually control that ball. That's not good play.
Just outside the Hawthorn forward 50. Jolly gets to the front spot nicely. Did Mitchell have possession? No. He'll get a free kick. Umpire Matthew Head in the right spot there. Mitchell now. Just squaring it into the middle to Kane. Saul provides an option a bit wider, but Kane's going to hit it high. Top of the square. Out come Roughhead, but he had the beat too. Got to beat Roberts, Thompson and Goods. Not an easy thing to do. Goods just floating in and taking the simplest of marks. O'Loughlin a long way from home. Sydney just holding it up here because they had numbers that went back into their back 50. Now just waiting for options, and Lewis Roberts Thompson is the man. Possession footy at the moment from Sydney.
But they're creeping forward. They haven't been trapped back in their defensive 50. They're working their way forward, and they're just 20-metre kicks, but they're finding possession.
O'Loughlin in 2 minds. There's that 20-metre kick we were mentioning.
Now you've got a man up. You have to find a man.
Fosdyke will go longer. Hall got rid of Campbell, but then spilled the mark. Couldn't get past the good tackle from Guerra. Sydney still with it though. Williams gets a call out wide. Ablett. And the handball has too much on it. We have a boundary throw-in. The Hawks bench look on.
Oh, a great tackle by Guerra then. Barry Hall's a big man to bring down.
Yeah, he just wouldn't let him go, would he? Taylor and Jolly. That's a nice backhand little knock from Taylor, and he roves it himself and spins out of trouble well. Good work by the big man, Kane. Well, fumble from Sewell, put himself under pressure. Fosdyke applies the tackle. Taylor goes again. Too much on the handball this time. Mitchell to Crawford. Brown. And they'll run it out. Sewell gives it back to Brown in the 1-2. The kick just missing the target. O'Loughlin approaches Kane, and he puts it over the boundary line once again as Jude Bolton having a bit of a spell at the moment, stretching, preparing to come back on.
It's an interesting matchup. Tascanelli, young Tim Clark's been chasing him round or chasing each other. That's an interesting duel.
Taylor doing the ruck work. Kane, you just get the feeling if the Hawks can believe in themselves and just run a bit with the ball. Here's Franklin. He can attack the ball. It's a poor kick. He was looking for Crowd, well read that time by Leo Barry. Now the Swans will break because Adam Goods is great at reading the play. So athletic, comes away from halfback. A couple of casual bounces, puts the ball out in front. Campbell's read it well. Just ran away from Barry Hall. It's a good sign. Got to play the ball on its merits. Crawford across halfback.
No one
That's a bad kick.
Had no one to go to, and a poor option, but the forwards weren't presenting for Hawthorn.
Adam Goods sets it up to Matthews, back in the side. Just caught in two minds. Virtually on the edge of the centre square. Barry Hall's going to be the target, and again Campbell doing well in the one-on-ones, using his strength from Birchall. Just did it a long terra firma taken away by Ladson. Out in front again, Franklin. Got Ty Kennelly to beat and does it well. Young man's got some talent. He's a real athlete. He's off. Charges around the wing. Got to control the ball. The juggler bobbles the ball in. Look at Leo. Those quick footsteps. Dances on a dollar. Taken away by O'Keefe. And hammers the ball wide. Richards hits the ground running for the Swans. Finds Fosdyke. Barry Hall's the target. Got him in his sights. Just hasn't been able to hold his marks tonight. Fosdyke. The crummer. Beautiful kick. Finds Snyder.
Started on the bench, Snyder. Long ball, O'Loughlin. One out with Sewell. Used his body to get rid of him, then spilled the mark. And Sewell happy to see it over the line. O'Loughlin looking a lot more dangerous than he has in the last couple of weeks. And he just did everything right except hold on to it. Boundary throw in. Chambers got in front, but Taylor wins the knock. Williams, Kirk, the fumble. And we'll go again. 38-12. It was 32-3, so we've got 7.5 minutes remaining. It's 1 goal apiece, so the Hawks have held. Sydney still enjoy a comfortable lead, though.
Guys, the signs don't look good for Jared Crouch. The doctor's just come back from the rooms, but he hasn't returned.
The streak could be in danger for Jared Crouch. Going 191 since debuting in a row. Although he did injure his shoulder in the international series, and they thought he was going to miss. He bounced back.
He won't miss. He'll be right.
Play with 2 broken arms. Hawthorn. Well, the kick from Smith is a poor one. It's out of bounds on the full.
Another turnover, but you must compliment the defence of the Sydney Swans, or the forwards, that put a lot of pressure on Hawthorn. They forced the pressure, forced the turnovers.
Goods. They're lined up in a line. I'll say that again. They're on a diagonal line from Goods to the goal there, the Sydney Swans. And waiting for a lead, and it came from Barry Hall.
They do that all over the ground, the Sydney Swans. We see from kick-outs they like to huddle up, and often they huddle at centre-half forward and centre-half back, something obviously they practiced and they're well and truly drilled at it.
Just to open some space up. Barry Hall. He's got one tonight. Been involved in setting up a couple of others. It's close. It's behind. 39 plays 12. Just over 6 minutes remaining first half.
Jude Bolton, 13 possessions for the Swans. Fosdyke 12, 11 to Goods. Lewis has got the most for the Hawks, 12, 11 to Campbell Brown. And Kane also with 10 possessions, and Ladson with 10. So some Hawthorn players working hard. Birchall. Young man just playing his 5th game. Short to Bateman. McVeigh has been his target all night. So the Swans just holding up play as Bateman goes for Kane. Second grab, couldn't take it. Lewis finds himself over the boundary line as Peter Everett looks on.
That was a better contest from Hawthorn, though. Their option was, if in doubt, they went long to a contest on the boundary line. They can set up and start again now.
Now Taylor takes the free kick.
Moving on quick.
Finds Kane. He's a handy young player. Crow at the ball. The ball is Campbell Brown using his strength. Toe pokes the ball forward, looking for Crawford. He was looking for a free kick. He's got it over the shoulder. They've hit the woodwork, but the ball's coming back.
I like that. That's very brave, the umpire. I'll let you have the advantage. No, you mucked it up. Bring it back.
Ben Kane has been a very good player for the Hawks tonight.
He has,
David.
and I think he's always shown been a very injury-prone, athletic kid, but I think he's been underestimated, maybe not respected in the normal way by the Swans, who wouldn't know much about him.
Young man from Upway. Crawford should kick a goal for the Hawks from just 35 metres out. Straight through the centre.
Well, I think their method has been a bit better, Alistair. There's no doubt about it. Even if they haven't been all that quick, at least they've had some options who've presented themselves on the lead with a bit of speed. Sadly, they've butchered a few of those along the way, but I think the method, even though it's not as quick as I would like, it's certainly been better in the options that have been provided for the player ahead.
They're back to just 21 points. Down by 29 at quarter time. The Hawks have dragged it back to 21. Chambers missed it. Hodge didn't. And that long, beautiful left boot inside their forward 50. They need a grab. Throat came out. Tried to take everything, including the ball with him. Wasn't up to the task. The clearing kick. Here comes Kane again. Keeps it in. Shares it back to Clark and go back through the middle. Birchall. Taken break. Long ball again. Here's Dixon. Crumbing. Round the corner. That might stay in for Williams. He has enough time to steady. Spots a man and misses the target. That would have been a shot on goal. It would have been very important because the Swans are away on the break here though. O'Keefe got it from Fosdyke. Backs himself. Gets a runner through the middle. Schneider has a bounce. Well, he went to Davis. I thought he was going to load up and have a shot. And the rebound footy from Sydney. It could be a 2-goal turnaround, couldn't it?
Well, it was a good build-up from Hawthorn. They was driving the ball deep. There was a contest by the key forwards. They just turned it over again, and just the transition, the Sydney Swans. We know they're so good at defence, but the way they powered ahead just to hit Davis, and he kicks these on a tight angle, but he doesn't miss these often.
Lining up for number 3. 40 metres out. Straight through. That's rebound footy at its best.
And that is confidence. That is confidence sapping. You work hard to build up a bit of momentum in the game, and then through a turnover, the transition is converted very quickly from one end of the ground to the other, and a goal kick by a class forward, it just saps you. They must bounce back now, Hawthorn. Must get this clearance to keep them in the game.
I'm very sad that it was sad that it was Williams, because Williams' kick back to Taylor would normally hit the mark. It missed. There's the end result. Turnover, 2-goal, as you called it.
Very surprising, because Williams is such a great kick that he just couldn't hit his teammate from 15 metres away. O'Keefe had it and lost it. Campbell working hard, playing on Barry Hall to Sewell. Some run for the Hawks. This young man's been very good. Ben Kane goes short, looking for Dixon again. Didn't quite hit the target. Hawthorn letting himself down with foot skills, and Goods comes away across half-back to Williams. Dixon was the chaser, kicks a high ball, just pushed off his opponent that time. He's given away the free kick. It was a double action.
And the ball was far. I mean, the ball was 30 metres away. You can't do that.
Campbell Brown short to Joel Smith. This player wide is Sewell. Coming off the bench is O'Loughlin. He hasn't seen him now. He'll see him now. He just arrives on the scene. Birchall to Clark. Looking for Crow. Bounces to his feet in front of Roberts Thompson. Wobbles the ball in. Chance here for Williams, playing in front. If you move the ball quick and you get in the forward line, Alistair, you know, champion full forward, it puts so much pressure on those defenders, and the ball drops short and you mark in front.
It is amazing, and it was a choppy old kick from Trent Crode, but he moved the ball on quickly, and when it floats in, you take front position, you're always a very good chance to get a mark.
Williams. Some more heart now for the Hawks. Two goals to Williams. both coming in this second term.
Absolutely delighted. I mean, Hodgie's going a bit better. I think he's won a few more. Bell down the middle, but he's blocked then to get Crow. It was a bit of an ugly kick from Crow, but he was under extreme pressure. Hodgie ran through it, made the space, kick got in quickly. Williams marked. Delighted to see about 8 or 9 players run to Hodge as the person who set it up.
Yeah, it was the 1%ers that have been better for Hawthorn in this quarter. Two from 3 goals for Hawthorn to Williams. We just saw Jared Crouch running up and down the boundary. Tiffy's back out there.
He is. The signs look better for Sydney. Their bench and also Crouch's record. He's just had his shoulder restrapped. He'll be fine to come back on.
Good news. It's good news for the Hawks because back in this game, 21-point margin. Matthews around the corner. Finds O'Loughlin. Hall breaking for him. O'Loughlin, measured kick. He could run onto it, and that's good work by Campbell. He's had a good quarter, Campbell.
Campbell's been good. He lowered his colours 2 weeks ago to Jonathan Brown, but after initially couldn't find the body of Barry Hall, he's been very good to get a fist on most occasions.
Just played the ball on its merits there, didn't he?
He's a great story. He's a great story, this young man. We'll talk about him later.
Davis couldn't take possession. Sewell, some real body strength there. Lewis got it out to Kane, to Smith. They're sharing it. They need a runner. The kick. Oh, good work from Clark. No whistle on the play. Hawthorn fans wanted a free kick. Sydney now with Schneider. Measures the pass inside their forward 50. Williams, the veteran, will have a shot on goal. And just, I mean, I know Clark was put under some pressure there. It's just the kicks coming out have let them down a bit, but they may get another chance here, Hawthorn, because Davis has spilled it. Campbell to Hodge.
Oh, no good in the back half.
It was an amazing kick.
Not bad coming from a full forward.
That was it.
Have you ever been... Oh, no, you're an All-Australian fullback, I shouldn't say that.
Oh, he played all his good football as an halfback.
Oh, it was a strange kick, wasn't it?
But you can't do that in the back half. That's over his right shoulder. He'd be very relieved to see that hit a target.
They've still got the footy. Williams, and they've still got time for one more before the half-time break. Sewell slides in and takes the mark. But down to 30 seconds. They would dearly love another one. Oh, strength from Hodge. They're certainly living dangerously with some of these kicks. That's better. Campbell.
Play on, go.
And that is exactly what the crowd were yelling out. He doesn't know the clock is his enemy.
But so often we see...
Dear.
Here we go.
It's just the turnover. It's just the kicking letting him down. Kennelly trying to thread the needle, does so, and Bolton could have gone, but it doesn't matter because the siren has sounded. They weren't that pretty at times, Hawthorn, but they got themselves back in the game, kicking 3 goals in that term and holding Sydney to just the 2. So the margin is very manageable for Alistair Clarkson and his team because the endeavour is there. All they have to do is polish up their skills. At half-time here at the MCG, round 9 Saturday night football, the Sydney Swans are back to where they won the premiership, and at half-time they lead by 21 points. We'll be back to look at the first half after this. Couldn't get to all 8 games? Then catch the winners for a complete wrap-up of the round. The Winners is your one-stop shop for all the round's best highlights.
The Winners, Sunday, 7:30 local.
15 cents for 10 days. We print photos from your digital camera at Harvey Norman, and our special offer ends this weekend.
15-cent prints for 10 days.
Just bring in your media card, USB drive or CD. It's that easy. Harvey Norman prints your digital photos for just
15 cents for 10 days.
Last days, hurry.
With ingenious driver assist technology, an advanced active all-wheel drive system that anticipates when to engage, and 20% more interior space, the all-new RAV4 is bursting with uncompact thinking.
Hall. It's an impossible angle. Oh! He's got it!
weekend, the Sunday Telegraph gives you the chance to collect a piece of history with the Heroes of the Socceroos official 2006 medallion collection. This sensational 16-page official album is your comprehensive guide to the World Cup. The album and first medallion are free, only with this weekend's Sunday Telegraph.
Sunday is a Sunday without the Sunday Telegraph.
Jason Tunstall, footy champion. You can catch Jason on Fox League teams, The Gospel and Saturday Central as part of Fox Footy's champion team.
45 plays 24. Immediately the knock from Spider. Gets the kind bounce and bangs it forward inside the forward 50. Coming out hard to meet it, Crode couldn't quite take it. Lewis Roberts Thompson beautifully tackled. Should be rewarded, it is. Crode now he can get the distance, we know. A goal here would be the perfect start for the Hawks.
And a great start from one of the key indicators, the real barometer in Peter Everett for Hawthorn. Just to get his hand on the ball, he'll lift his teammates with that sort of action.
Just a behind so far for Crode. Similar distance. Again, he's hooked it to the line. Still in play. It's still going. Dixon, eventually we have a rush behind from Richards. And that took an age before we had a behind the first score, just flicking the post on the way through.
And the Swans are good from this sort of situation. They'll huddle up, but the Hawks persist in going man on man. It is easy to get the first mark out of this sort of contest.
Ty Kennelly to bring the ball back into play. Designated kicker goes wide, finds Crouch. The mercurial man, Jared Crouch, 191 consecutive games, never missed a game since debut. Great tackle that time. Campbell's been really good playing on Barry Hall. It's been a tough gig and he's done it well.
And for Mitchell to follow up then for tackle on Forster, boys, that's super play.
So the Hawks, now the ball's coming back. Sam Mitchell goes short. Finds Joel Smith marking in front of Hall.
And he's one that's got to get up and run. Smith's so quick over the ground, he can open up. He's playing defensively.
That was a good measured kick. He didn't have to break stride that time, was Jared Roughhead. Just glided onto the ball. Bateman. That lead was ignored. Big pack of players here. Over the top was Crode. Here's Everett. Toe pokes it and has missed.
Well done, Peter Everett, crumbing forward in that instance, but Trent Crode once again didn't take the mark, but it was a big physical contest. Spilt the ball to the front.
Now on the quick kick in again at Sydney, this time through the avenue of Schneider to Kirk. A little bit hesitant. O'Keefe at the back, and you'd have to say Jacobs read that the better because he just... I think he probably knew that Kirk couldn't get over the top of him to O'Keefe, so he just planted himself in front. Now Chesky out for the Swans, and Buchanan just getting some massage at the moment. We're back with the forward throw in, and we'll have a replay of that as Bateman slides in over the line.
It is a crucial period because they've worked hard to create two very reasonable opportunities, neither of which scored, so they've got to keep at it now or else they'll lose the momentum.
Beats both Jolly and Everett. Ablett slung as he kicked it. Two Hawthorn players get in each other's way. It was Sewell and Campbell, but they work it out eventually, or have they? Lewis back into some traffic. Brown under some pressure on the boundary. Out of bounds on the full. Nice pressure from the Swans inside their forward 50, and Williams will take the kick about 80 metres from goal. Hawthorn getting plenty of numbers back around the 50-metre line. It's a poor kick from Williams, and you've got to give it to the Hawthorn defenders there. They created that error. Nice bit of work, and Bateman onto the chest of Roughhead.
He marks across half back. Leo Barry stands the mark, just looking for that space. Finds Guerra, just slides onto the ball. Again, if they don't move the ball quickly, Sydney will flood back. Dixon. Still on centre wing for the Hawks.
And this is where the Hawks forwards have got to run out of space to open up the space for the other forwards to run into. Too crowded.
Well, Peter Everett's going to be the target. Had him in his sights. Mitchell's the tackler, brings Kirk to the ground. Adam Good's over the top. Williams somehow shovels the ball out. There was a throw. Wasn't picked up. Fosdyke works hard, finds Kirk, his partner in crime, Crouch. Runs into a roadblock in the shape of Guerra. Kirk somehow just tunnel balls it out. Great vision. Finds Ty Kennelly. Loves to run with the ball to set it up, and Williams rockets the ball wide. Danger period here now for the Hawks as Snyder hammers the ball in, getting back is Davis. He's going to run in. He's going to kick a goal. Bangs it through. Nick Davis has got 4.
Well, it's a great play, and they set it up extremely well. But Hawthorn have worked for, 6 or 7 minutes now? No, 5 or so minutes. But played good constructive football, got the ball in, didn't get a result. Sydney just worked themselves back in, pressurised them defensively, and set up one of the easier. It was a bit unfortunate. Brownie got a bad, got good body work on by Davis. Davis got himself absolutely clear. Good night.
Nick Davis, 4 goals won, equaling his best against Hawthorn, which he did on both occasions last year. Almost a goal against the run of play there for the Swans, because Hawthorn had been better of the two teams. Centre square infringement is just so costly. It shouldn't happen. It's against Hawthorn. Jolly will take the kick for Sydney. Hall breaks to left of screen. Over the back, Bateman has superior pace. Searching for the boundary, clever kick.
He has developed enormously as a player. Now his body's right. He's fast and furious, very courageous, and in that case showed some extremely good ball control with his feet to get it out of bounds.
Everett, just a little glance to his right. Mitchell and Kirk in front of the 2 ruckmen. Didn't matter. We've got a holding free kick, and it's Spider's kick against Jolly, who pleads his case, and Spider plays on quickly. Don't worry about arguing. Bang! Out comes Cronin, crunches Crawford. He's a bit groggy. He's trying to get to his feet. Goods straight up the middle. McVeigh, there's Crawford, still down. But a friendly fire as McVeigh puts it out in front of Davis. Sewell right with him. Inboard O'Keefe. Round the corner. At the back, O'Loughlin at the front again, Campbell. Standing tall for Hawthorn in defence. Shane Crawford in the hands of the trainers.
It's been good, Campbell. He's got a tough gig, of course, playing on Barry Hall.
But he's left him, and he's initiated. He's played the ball on its merits. It's been really a first-rate performance from the young bloke.
Barry Hall's kicked 1 goal. He's had it 9 times. There's Crawford to his feet. He's a tough nut. There's Jared. Roughhead caught one in the back. Pounced on this time by Williams. Round the corner, Ladson closed very quickly. O'Keefe kept his footing. Finds Kirk. Here's Hall now out in front. The turnover was too quick for Campbell, and the foot speed was there. Quickly through the air. Very hard to stop.
It was, and Ladson, it wasn't a bad effort to try to push over, but just had to take body, just had to take his opponent out of the contest, get a fist on the ball, but also lay body on body.
Tough angle for Barry Hall. Runs in. It's a beautiful looking kick. That's through the heart of the Hawks. 2 goals to Barry Hall.
Honestly, you're right, and it happens too often with young players. I mean, if you don't take the body and miss the ball, there is something dramatically wrong in your approach. And if you take body and ball, whether you actually make a clean of it, we can forgive that. But if you miss both, there's something wrong with your approach.
Nice finish by Barry Hall, his 2nd goal for the evening. And the Swans out to a lead of 31 points. 32 for the season now for the Premier forward for the Swans. And margin to 31, it's a bigger margin than we probably expected, given what's happened in this short time in the third quarter. Still plenty of time for the Hawks to get it back. Mitchell. Franklin could run onto it, needs a good bounce. Still in play. Crowd hovering, gets it back. A chance for Dixon. Well, he's a clever player, and that wasn't beyond him, that kick. We've seen him kick goals like that many times.
You do. You see him snap those most occasions. Yet another clearance for Hawthorn out of the midfield. They just haven't got the polish to find a target up forward as yet, but they are certainly getting their hands on the ball.
Fosdyke. Wanted Schneider, but nice work from Lewis. Bolton, not Schneider, I should say. Now, here's an opportunity. Ladson in a heap of space. Crawford the target. Dixon the target. And the spoil came from Ty Connelly.
Jordan Lewis back in the side, David. I was surprised he was out last week. He was a young player last year, one of the NAB Rising Stars.
And played just about, I think, all games last
Every game.
year. Was a bit slow on the start. I think they put him back for a week.
Well, he's playing well tonight. Here's Lance Franklin in his comeback game for the season. Finds Ladson around the corner. High ball. It's one for the Brave. Getting back is Roughhead. Made a good attempt. They need a crumb up. Sliding in over the ball that time. Again was Ladson. Followed up his kick. And we've got a ball up just outside 50. 9-3-57 the Swans. The Hawks 3-9-27. They trail by 30 points after trailing by 29 points at quarter time and 21 points at half time. Hawks, can they keep on coming? Hodge to Lewis with that good body strength. The juggler that time was Everett. Fosdyke, an underrated player, pushed off the ball, snapped up by Lewis around the corner, bouncing ball in the pocket. Adam Goods, he'll be happy to run it over the line for a behind.
I think the good thing from Hawthorn's point of view from the game is that Hodge has worked himself back into the game and is starting to have the kind of impact in the contest stuff. He's so strong, body to get clear, and his usage, well, it wasn't good early, but it's starting to improve.
Ty Connelly has been the designated kicker tonight. Backs himself in. They've been very good at getting the ball away in this last line of defence. Now just caught in two minds. That was better by the Hawks. Kirk runs away from Sam Mitchell, just pops it out in front, and Sewell made great ground and thumps it away from Nick Davis.
See, that huddle's a problem, isn't it? They pick out Sam Mitchell's back every time, and Sam just hasn't got the legs paid to get up and get the first one. I think you're right, Alistair. It's not the first one that's the problem. It is the second one, and they've actually retracted back after the second kick.
And they would certainly have two target players, and they'd work like players like Sam Mitchell over and use their player each time. They've got to make them work hard on the way out.
Nick Davis takes a spell. He's led at 4 goals, 2 in the first quarter, 1 in the second, and 1 in this third term. Here's Crouch. Just keeps on running. There's Jared Crouch. There's a shove out that time by O'Loughlin. Missed by the umpire. O'Keefe squeezed up on the boundary line. Finds O'Loughlin. 1-2. Centering kick. Danger here for the Hawks. Getting back is Fosdyke. And he's got it.
Now, Nick Fosdyke has picked up from where he left off. There was discussion grand final week, would he be in the side? But he was magnificent on grand final day. He's had 16 possessions. Fantastic centre in there. Team rule with most clubs now. You don't have a shot from the boundary line. You just go to a predictable spot, 20 metres out in front of goal. And in the end, a great mark from Fosdyke in a contest.
Good at 3 goals for the season. Game number 125 for Felix Fosdyke. No angle to speak of. Directly in front. From just 30 metres out. Bangs it home.
Well, it's, you look at the scoreboard, it's 3-10 to 10-3. I mean, it doesn't tell you the full story in a sense. The times in, the conversion rate, the finish off round the goal has been very, very methodical from the Sydney Swans point of view, and it's been, I guess you'd call it exactly the opposite, because I think both teams have probably created as many opportunities as each other, but in the finish, it is the finish which makes the difference.
Fosdyke coming off, earning a spell after that goal. It's a mirror image scoreboard. Margin 35 points. 3 goals for the Swans in this term. The Hawks just the 4 behinds as Kirk clears for Sydney. Barry Hall, 55 metres out. Thought about O'Keefe. O'Loughlin just slipping into the pocket. Good spoil. Ball out of bounds. Let's head down the boundary level with Tiffany Cherry.
Slight concern with Nick Davis. He actually brought himself off after talking to the physio. He's getting some work done now on his left hamstring.
Well, that's been an ongoing concern, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So he needs to be very careful.
Chance there for Kennelly. A little bit of Gaelic football there to just flick it to Kirk, and he got it back and he didn't want it. Hawthorn players appealing for the holding the ball not to be.
He debated it for a long time, the umpire. Did he actually pull it in or not, or did it just lob into him on the line ball there?
Chambers over the top for Sydney. Bateman is in under all that, so too Tim Clark for Hawthorn. Umpire letting it go. Eventually comes in. We have another ball up for about 30 metres around for the Sydney goal.
And the Sydney Swans are normally so dangerous. Forward lines tend to want to clear it out. Swans are comfortable with multiple numbers. Schneider and Co are very dangerous.
O'Keefe and Buchanan usually involved in this sort of situation as well, but nothing different. This time there's a bit of push and shove from Taylor and O'Keefe. Boundary throw in again. Taylor and Chambers. Smith didn't take it. Taylor could. The big man looked up. Hodge, Ablett right with him. Clark. Enough to get it to Bateman, who takes in front of McVeigh. Gee, Joel Smith cut through on the angle there. Took the mark. Moved it forward quickly. Franklin, too clever there. Did he get past Goods? No, he didn't see Crouch coming. But here's a chance for Crawford. Got cleaned up earlier in the term. And kicks the wrong side of the post. Deserved the goal.
But he actually made his angle worse. He ran towards the boundary line. He should have ran straight towards goal.
Good, Frank. Terrific effort by Franklin. But he needed to be strong enough to actually break that, get his hands free and release the ball to Crawford. It was a really good effort for the kid.
And again on the quick break, Williams. This is possession number 16 for the veteran, 302 games. Campbell Brown showed a lot of courage coming across in front that time. O'Keefe was there with Joel Smith, but Campbell Brown just never took his eyes off the ball.
And doesn't when he goes. He's the bravest bloke going back I've seen in footy.
Working hard. Here's Buchanan. Didn't quite hit a target that time for the Swans. Jordan Lewis, quick kick to the half-forward line. Playing in front and meeting the ball hard was Crow. Wrapped up in the tackle that time from Robert Thompson. And finally the ball is forced over the line. We've got to toss back in. Played 16 and a half minutes into this third term. 10-3-63 the Swans, 3-11-29 the Hawks. They trail by 34 points. Taylor doing the ruck work. Sam Mitchell. And his partner in crime there was Crawford. This will take some courage. And Campbell Brown running with a flight of the ball. Take a bow. Take the VC. Hammers the ball inside. 50. Good fist away that time. Brings the ball to the front. Handy play for the Hawks. Crawford from Lewis. Now to Mitchell. Some rumcun for the Hawks. That's a beautiful kick. Finds Ladson. Pops it in front. Dixon. Well, a chance for the Hawks to drag back a goal and keep their chances alive.
Was well worked. Took it around the top of the 50 until Dixon found space and just led nicely into the ball. But Campbell Brown, he does go back hard. Yeah. Must be something about those Brown boys. There's one in Queensland that goes pretty hard as well.
And the mother also hits hard, so that's true. The two of them, father and mother. Great breeding they've got. Kay and Brownie.
Bit of 12 goals for the season. Just one behind tonight. Dixon. He's got it. And the Hawks won't go away, Alistair.
No, but that's good reward. They've worked hard. They haven't had the polish up forward. I think the Sydney Swans' class up forward to convert their opportunities has been fantastic. The Hawks have had to work for every single goal they've got. 4 goals, 11. You're right, it's not just reward for the work ethic, but good to see the finishing skills of Dixon there.
And Ladson's little kick to him too. He got on his bike. Dixon's not the quickest bike. Only had a metre, and Ladson put it perfectly in his spot.
Well, there's Luke Ablett. And problem with his mouth, Tiff.
He had a fair bit of bleeding, but it looks like they've just stopped it. Nick Davis back on as well.
Thanks, Tiff, as Hawthorn getting some reward for some endeavour with that goal to Dixon. Can they get 2 in a row as Birchall tries to thread through? Chambers in the way. Adam Goods. Sydney running hard here. Williams. Could have gone to O'Keefe, went to Bolton instead. Campbell had to leave his man. The Sydney fans want 50 and they get it. He can't believe it.
live, it seemed like a bit of a line ball. Obviously, the rule has been changed this year. You cannot take possession of the player if you weren't in the marking contest. And a little bit stiff. The momentum was in.
He was trying to pull up, wasn't he?
Technically, in the light of the rule, that's right.
Yeah.
But he was just hammering forward. He's a huge bloke, going to the contest, split second, very stiff, but technically correct.
I think you've got to give a big man the benefit of the doubt. Jude Bolton doesn't care. Kicks a goal for the Swans.
And exactly what we touched on about late in the second quarter, you cannot go past the body. He couldn't afford to keep running and allow the Sydney player to play on. He was slowing down, a little bit clumsy, but yeah, technically the free kick was there. But disappointing for Campbell, who has been very good.
Sydney by 34 points. There's Chambers for the Swans. The ex-Cat gets his chance when Jolly has a breather. Taylor comes charging in against Chambers. Lewis dragged to the ground. Now a free kick is being paid. He's going to Fosdyke. Breaking wide is Buchanan.
With the speed of the Sydney players to acknowledge the free kick was going their way and to run hard, Ablett and Buchanan forward, it was fantastic.
Chambers couldn't take it. Over the top of the ball is Jacobs. And we've got a ball up just 30 metres out from goal.
Haven't been as clean, Sydney, going into their forward 50 as we normally see. And from that situation, 60, 70 metres out, they're normally the best in the competition. They've taken their time, finding the target about 35 metres out. They've just gone long to the contest most times today and just can't finish it off.
Nick Davis is back on the ground, leading goal kicker with 4. Ablett wrapped up in a tackle by Hodge. 2 tough nuts. Peels for the free and gets it.
Why would you want to go and chase the ball?
How much prior opportunity did he have?
Oh, he had none. Absolutely none.
Clark runs onto the ball across half-back.
And the answer, Matt, will be that he wasn't making a real attempt to get rid of it. He's wrapped up by 14 blokes in a wrestle.
He's had it for a millisecond.
Well, that is a modern tactic. If there is someone trapped under the ball, do all you can to hold the ball in and put weight on the possession. The guy with the possession makes it very difficult.
Everett wins the tap. It's been sharked that time by Kirk. Quickly around the corner. Good defensive play by Jacob. Smashed the ball forward. Pounced on this time by Sam Mitchell. Wobbles the ball forward. Taken away by Richards. Nearly run down that time by Crow.
Free downfield.
So it has been paid. It was a bit late. Here's Williams inside 50. The veterans kicked 1 goal for the season. Game number 302. Williams pumps it through. Put on the rebound, the Swans.
Oh, the crowd's frustrations just cost them the easiest goal for the day. And it's all right to harass and chase down and take out your venom that way, but there are better ways of doing that don't cost your team a goal immediately afterwards.
Here's the chase from Crode and dumped after he kicked it. One get the feeling that Sydney had Williams was on the break anyway, but it made it all easy, and he bangs through a goal. We haven't seen him kick a lot of goals of late. Biggest margin of the night now, 40 points for the Swans. They kicked 5 goals in this third term. The Hawks have kicked 1.
15 scoring shots apiece.
And there's still over 6 minutes remaining in the third term. Ablett. Well, that's a carbon copy of the last one. He's had it, and Hodges right on top of him.
Just great kicking by Sydney, 12-3 to 4-11. Plays to kick goals, David.
Well, it does. It does. Certainly has tonight.
Ablett again, and there's a whistle on the play. It's going to be a Hawthorn free kick, and it's to Hodge. 13th disposal coming up for Hodge. Ablett with the 5. Everett juggling it. Brown can't get past Goods and Roberts Thompson. Ball up 40 metres out from goal.
There have been some terrific contests, haven't there? Ablett and Hodge has been a great contest.
Here's Ladson. Matthews with him. Clark arrives. And again a ball up.
And of course, Kirk and Mitchell has been another terrific individual contest within the game. It's been fantastic to watch them work and play.
Everett, clever knock, but standing in the way for Sydney was Schneider. They have another chance. Threading through the handball was Lewis, and kicking the goal is Crow.
Well, he's got the one back. He needed that one. He got the one back. Oh, he's been all right, Brady, and he is playing with great dignity. I was delighted to see that tackle he put on before, when obviously the pain that goes associated with a break that he's carrying in the wrist. I mean, he showed a lot of courage to come out and play. Probably hasn't finished as well as we would have liked, but he's not been their worst player.
And good play again by Jordan Lewis. 21 possessions now to Jordan Lewis. 5:11:41 plays 12:3:75. The Hawks trail by 34 points, and we've played just on 25 minutes in this third term. Everett to do the ruck work. Up early was Chambers. Hodge over the top. Burrows in after the ball. Pinched this time by Fosdyke. Hammers the ball inside 50. Playing in front is Hall. And he's done a good job, Campbell, one-on-one. He's been very good against Barry Hall.
He's been very
50
good.
metres too.
And that's handy. He's been very good. I think in that first 10 minutes when he lowered his colours, he was probably just nervous, as you've got every right to be coming up against Barry Hall in a big game at the MCG, but he's been fantastic.
I didn't think he'd ever. I thought he'd have to be a ruckman. They've been wrapped in his work in terms of clearances. He can hit the ball, but to be finding him at centre-half back with that
just going to work on his kicking, David.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, this is very tough on Brown.
So there was too much carrying the ball. Adam Goods took the easy mark, and then Brown, of course, encroaches the mark. So it's back to where we started. It's Groundhog Day.
It is. Goods went to play on, slipped. Brown went over the mark and gave away the 50. Very unfortunate there.
Never moved off his line. Here's O'Loughlin. Wants a kind bounce. He's got Joel Smith to beat. Paddles the ball long in front. Smith's done well. Has to release the ball. He has so. I thought he might have released it. And Hodge there with the ball in his hand saying, I've got the ball.
It's just when you lose your feet and go to ground with the ball, you're always going to be in trouble, and so difficult to get the ball out. Hodge will claim that the ball was out in time, but umpires love to give that one these days.
Shake of the head by Joel Smith. O'Loughlin has bid at 2 goals tonight. He's also had a poster. 15 goals for the season. From 40 metres out on a 45-degree angle. Bends it back. Kicks a goal. 3 goals to O'Loughlin.
Well, he's been impeccable, hasn't he? Well, he hasn't had all that much of the ball, but he's been a very damaging player.
4 shots, 3 goals and a poster.
That's not bad. Far better than his grand final performance.
And that's just what you need as a forward. If you're not getting a lot of the ball yourself, if you can just get the scoreboard pressure, you feel good about yourself by having a number of goals. He's got 3. It just might be the impetus to get him into a rich vein of form.
Goal in each quarter for O'Loughlin. Luke Hodge arguing the case that it was free, and he had it in his hands.
And what do you reckon from the replay? Now about a second look, what do you think?
I'm with Luke. Play it on. Here's Ablett. And again, it's a whistle. It's against Hodge.
There's a little bit of frustration, I think, probably from the last free kick that was paid in the forward 50. Hodge just got in his opponent's back there in Ablett, and they've had a great contest.
They've been at it most of the evening, haven't they? And he just kicks to the run of Kennelly. You've thought about it? Don't see him stop very often. He's usually off you go. 7 metres from goal. Short pass on the 50, Buchanan. He could probably get home from here. Much prefer him on the run. He's going to go short to Barry, who won't mind the set shot. No, back to Buchanan. So Not sure about that as a decision from Barry Hall. In the end, it's a beautiful play because the co-captain has it 20 metres out.
They called play on, and David and I were talking about this off air. It's almost as if the umpires have taken this into their own hands to make sure that he's every bit of 15 metres for the short passes. Maybe it's a subconscious thing to cut out the chip in around, but that is what the Sydney Swans do well, just to get it into the forward 50 so they can have a shot on goal.
Kirk. 3 goals, 6 for the season. Make it 4 and Sydney go further ahead. It's been a big third quarter for the Sydney Swans. And is that 15? Hard to tell from that angle on the replay, but certainly we've seen that paid in days gone by, but not anymore.
9 times out of 10 that's paid, but they're certainly enforcing that 15-metre rule to every metre. The Sydney Swans have certainly got on top in the centre clearances. There's been a few neutral balls, but the Swans probably leading 5 with the centre clearances so far this quarter.
Just on 30 minutes played in this third term. It's been a 7-goal third quarter for the Swans. 7 goals to 2 against the Hawks. Thrashing his way through is Buchanan. What an improved player. To Ablett. Goes wide, looks for Ben Matthews. Got the kind bounce he wanted. Back into the side, drills the ball in, looking for Davis, who's already booted 4 goals. It was thumped away that time by Sewell. Boundary throw in.
Just in the sheer run at the ball, when the ball's put into space, there's no doubt that Sydney cover the ground faster than the Hawthorn players as a general group.
They lock horns. Everett and Jolly. Kirk wins the hard ball. And playing in front. And if you're forward playing in front and everyone's got to kick around the corner, the ball will always drop short. And that's the good reason why you play in front on the forward line, because from ball-ups and boundary throw-ins, most of the time players have to kick around the corner. This is a tough angle, this one. There's a great camera shot. Barry Hall split at 32 goals for the season. Right across the face of goal. Out of bounds on the full. They lead by 46 points. As Kane just tumbles the ball on the boundary line. Adam Goods just seems to be... Well, he was a bit casual then. He was going to try and just take it at the last minute and spin away from Kane, but at least he closed quickly, Kane. And he's had a good game for a young man.
My word, he's shown a fair bit today.
16 possessions. Everett takes the front position. So does Hodge. Fresh air kick. Mitchell with strength somehow. Toe pokes the ball out. And hacked out of the air. That time came from Crawford. Birchall. Back to Clark. Around the corner. Must play in front. Krog was playing in front. Roberts-Thompson. Dragged to the ground that time by Roughhead. Wants a free kick. Hawthorn supporters got it! They were waiting.
Hawthorn fans demanded that one.
It was a crescendo. And Roughhead, who's a left foot up, he's on the right side, his preferred side. Plenty of goal space for the young man. It was a nice kick too, David.
Yes, delightful technique for a big man.
Kick 2 goals for the season. Should kick this one. Good kick by the young man. Straight through the centre.
Well, they keep coming. That's the good thing. I believe the scoreboard probably reflects the dominance of Sydney, but Hawthorn people have come today, have seen a team that's given what it has to give. Very few times they've been wanting in the passion department, if you like, so we hope they keep scoring. I thought it might become ugly and be a 10 or a 15 goal loss, but they're hanging in extremely well.
Seconds remaining. We had 10 goals in the first half. We've had 10 in this third quarter. 7 to Sydney, and their best third quarter for the season. We've got time for one more for Hawthorn. Mitchell has released Kane. A fumble.
Ooh.
He just looked up, saw Fosdyke coming. Brown to Hodge. Back to Guerra. Usually uses the footy pretty well. Long ball. Roughhead again the target. Over the back. Roberts-Thompson in the right spot for Sydney. To Richards. Roberts-Thompson is dumped after giving the ball off.
Guys, just keep your eye on Crawford. He's limping a little bit on his left leg after keeping the ball out of the air.
Three-quarter time at the MCG. As David Parkin mentioned, they have been dominant. They lead by 40 points, Sydney, but the Hawks continue to come at them. Their best quarter for the season, eclipsing their 6-4 against the Western Bulldogs last week, the Swans. And they lead 14-3-87. The Hawks 6-11-47. A 40-point margin. We'll come back with the final turn for round 9, Hawthorn and Sydney after this.
Couldn't get to all 8 games? Then catch the winners for a complete wrap-up of the round. The Winners is your one-stop shop for all the round's best highlights.
The Winners, tonight, 7:30 local.
15 cents for 10 days. We print photos from your digital camera at Harvey Norman, and our special offer ends this weekend.
15-cent prints for 10 days.
Just bring in your media card, USB drive or CD. It's that easy. Harvey Norman prints your digital photos for just
15 cents for 10 days.
Last days, hurry.
Your wife called.
Oh. She seems nice.
Fun meets functionality with a new Motorola Razr V3X.
Hello, Moto. Tony Shaw, footy champion.
Well played, Shaw. It's clear.
The winner of the Norm Smith medal, Tony Shaw.
You can catch Tony on White Line Fever, Grumpy Old Man, and Saturday Football as part of Fox Footy's champion team.
Three-quarter time here at the MCG. The Sydney Swans 1 quarter away from their 5th win in a row. They lead 14-3-87. Hawthorn 6-11-47. That is a 40-point margin. And, well, some things have gone... excuse me. Some things have gone right for the Hawks so far tonight, David. And Campbell on Hall has been interesting to watch, in particular the way he's approached the game since quarter time.
And how much better Hawthorn will be if they can structure up. They can't play Crowd at both ends. They need some of that size and shape. If he was to come good, despite the fact that they need him as a ruckman, that would help the structure for the long term. But the kid has come forward from a very, very difficult beginning in football. No confidence about himself. He's now really understanding that he can play the game and against the best players in the competition.
Yes, it's been good. Excuse me. Excuse me, I'll have to let you take over there. Kevin, I'll have a glass of water. I'm back, Kevin. There you go. Let's just find out what's going on at the Telstra Dome while I have another drink of water. It's Essendon taking on Port Adelaide. We've been following the scores. We'll show you another one. If you don't want to know, look away now.
Let's go down to Tiffany Cherry on the boundary.
Said before, Shane Crawford received a bit of a knock, but he's okay. Just kept my eye on him. No real problems for the Hawks. A number of players getting massages. Alistair Clarkson just spending a lot of time on his match-up board. As for the Swans, Nick Davis received some work on his hamstring. Other than that, and with Melcheski out, they're fine.
Thanks, Tiff. Have a look at the scoreboard. 6-11, 17 scoring shots apiece. 14-3 for the Sydney Swans. They kicked 9 goals won since quarter time as Everett comes charging in. Can the Hawks rally in this final term? Lewis with a quick kick out of that centre square. Campbell Brown beaten this time by Crouch. Might have got into his back. There was no free kick. Franklin on hands and knees. Here's Crawford. Rockers the ball to Campbell Brown. Some people think he's better on the forward line, David, than the back line. Chance for the Hawks. A couple of Swans players are down in the goal square. Over the top of the ball that time was Mitchell. Richards, hands and knees. Somehow finds Leo Barry. Answers on $1. Taken away by Ty Canali. Dashes out of that last line of defence. Kicks the ball out in front. He's looking for McVeigh. Bateman. They've had a great tackle. Bateman wins out. One-on-one duel. It was a look-away kick. Tried to kick it with a check side. And Adam Goods, who's enjoying another very good game for possession number 16.
I like the move of getting Campbell Brown forward, just to have some toughness and chase in the forward line, just to try to put pressure on the defenders of the Sydney Swans.
Goods goes wide, looking for O'Keefe. And the ball goes over the bounds line for a toss back in.
And the great matchups continue. Ablett with Hodge and Kirk with Mitchell. Been a super contest within the contest.
Sydney by 40 points. Everett worked his way to the front. Hodge with strength. Tries to break the tackle, does it well. Just a roll of the shoulders, taken away that time by Lewis, who hammers the ball back towards 50. Campbell Brown got an ugly bounce. Coming through was Roberts Thompson, being caught high. Where it came through. Now Hawthorn and the Swans starting to fly the flag.
I think it was Roberts Thompson who went down in the goal square about a minute ago as well, so he's copped a couple of heavy high knocks. And a bit of passion come into the game from both teams here.
You can see here just turning out and bang to the head.
He might be in a bit of trouble with that one.
Very high tackle by Guerra. And you can see the
left the ground.
The Sydney Swans players were quick to react. It's a very, very heavy knock. Being well attended to. He's done well. He's on his feet.
He might come for a little spell, though, by the look of him. And he's one of that group of players the Sydney Swans have really kicked on with Ablett and Schneider, being a top liner in the game. And he's setting himself up to be a long-time centre-half-back, full-back for the Sydney Swans.
Is that the umpire putting the notebook back in his...
Does appear so.
He does appear so.
And still plenty going on between Williams and Guerra, both having rip jumpers at the moment. Anyway, we're back with Adam Goods, who decides to switch to the other side of the ground to O'Keefe, standing in the tackle. Kirk. Leo Barry through the middle of the ground. Davis tried for the slips catch, couldn't quite get it. Sewell. Kennelly, good tackle. Sewell did well though, just the last minute over to Joel Smith, and that was all of 13 metres, Alistair.
Yes, and very risky. Once again, didn't have a lot of space, had to hit the target.
Lewis hasn't done that though, put Jacobs under pressure, and Barry Hall happy to see a boundary throw inside the Swans forward 50. No change to the three-quarter time score.
Roberts Thompson will be fine to come back on. He's just taking a rest.
Thanks, Tiff. Jolly with O'Keefe. Releases Schneider, who kicks the goal. All too easy from a boundary throw-in we've seen many times from Sydney, and it was almost slow motion from the Hawks defenders.
Was slow motion. The Sydney Swans haven't been able to get those clearances deep in their forward line tonight like in past weeks, but in that instance just found some space. Schneider, as he can do, if he gets the ball in space, he's always a very good chance to convert, and on that very effective left foot just slotted that one through and 25 metres out.
Sorry, Elsa, the blocks off by his mates off the play to give him the space were just super. Oh, gee, the blocking was there to create the space for that goal to be kicked.
15-3, 93 the Swans, 6-11-47 the Hawks. That's good news from Tiffany Cherry. Roberts Thompson will be okay to come back. Here's Crow taking a spectacular grab in front of leaping Leo. Here's a thumping kick. Gives it across to Guerra. He'll get some boos. Hammers the ball into the square. That's a great kick. Well, Swan fans mightn't like it, but he's answered with a goal.
I'm amused, though. I don't know about you, Alistair. There are 5 or 6 blokes in the competition, the lonies of the competition, the Jews of the competition, Guerra in this side too, who just sit off there all the time. We know that the ball's going to. Why doesn't someone in the opposition actually say, this is an absolute predicted match, and do something about it? Should never be allowed to happen.
The designated kickers.
Yeah.
And they said a lot of them are left footers.
They're all left footers. They're beautiful kicks of the left footers. Good for Guerra to bounce back. He wouldn't be feeling good about himself at the moment.
The answering goal for Hawthorn. Lewis. Over the top of him was Schneider. And we're going to hold in the ball situation again against Jordan Lewis. And they're still at it, Williams and Guerra. They're going the full 12 rounds. Schneider, 2-on-1 situation. Jacobs and Campbell in the best spot for Hawthorn, and they've forced a boundary throw in 70 metres from the Swans' goal.
And looking at that last goal from Guerra, you've got to compliment Crow once again for the way he went about it. Jumped hard at the ball, took a good mark.
Fosdyke. With him, Campbell Brown. Umpires have been very busy tonight, been a lot of ball ups. Plenty of work to do.
The other Matt contest within this has been Bolton and Lewis too. That's been a super contest.
You have to give it to Lewis.
Yes.
On points. He's had more of the ball than anyone on the ground at the moment. Franklin steals it from Williams, and then Williams is held on to after that, and it's against Guerra. So the points swing back to Williams after Guerra goal. On the lead, Schneider. Kicked the goal in this last quarter. Yeah, he spotted someone a long way from home. Every player in the one half of the ground. Leo Barry was closest to the Hawthorn goal, and now we've got so many players up forward, he's got no one to kick to, so he's forced to go wide.
And this is where the Swans will work it. They'll chip it around short until something will open up.
Into the pocket, he spotted O'Loughlin out of his corner of his eye, and there it is. Wonderful vision from Adam Goods, and O'Loughlin had the courage to continue on his line.
It was touched off
good Lord.
That is unlucky, but they do it so well, the Sydney Swans, to find targets. There were so many players back there. Was touched, but he still found his target.
Everett in the best spot to knock it down. Davis, boundary throwing once again.
I wonder if Mick O'Loughlin would have taken that if he'd known it was touched. I think he would have dodged out of the way and let somebody else have it.
We've seen the vision of the defensive half for the other end at the other end of the ground. Very empty.
Here's Ablett. Beats Ladson for the ball. Good tackle by Ladson. Clever kick. That came from Crouch. Finds Fosdyke. Goes short. Sydney with this loose player. Schneider. And Buchanan. Dangerous type player. Throwing Nick Davis. He's booted 4 goals tonight. Here's Ablett. Fills the slot.
Well,
he's a big kick to Ablett. Now, he's about 65 metres out, David. Can't say he'll kick it, but he is a big kick. He's going to measure it. Look at this. Barry Hall drops it. Bateman just pumps the ball back for the Hawks. There's a big wall of players as Richards pounces on the ball. Goods stands inside 50, unloads, gives it both barrels, goes right to the line. Through for a behind.
I was just imagining that Hawthorn actually got hold of it and ran through the middle. It's the biggest Pagans paddock I've ever seen. About 130 metres long. I don't know who was going to carry it. Maybe give it to the runner or somebody to carry it down there, but there was no one going to get it and kick it.
It's a Pagans hectare.
Wasn't there a famous game that you coached once over in, was it at the Wacker, and you told the Fitzroy players they're only allowed to handball it, and one of your guys got in the goal square and handballed it through?
That's a very true story.
Gary Keane, I think it was, yes.
He just carried out the coach's instructions because you told him not to kick it.
That's discipline for you.
No, if you know Gary Keane, it's not.
Here's Fosdyke, a little give on the up to Kennelly. And Crawford has dumped Kennelly afterwards and is still going on with it. Umpire says play on. O'Keefe does so. Wants Barry Hall. Body on body with Campbell, who did well, but here's Hall on recovery. Jacobs wraps him up. Barry keeps going. Check side, hits the post.
Look, it's been worth seeing this contest. The kid who's learning the craft and the old general. It's been a terrific contest.
Swans 15-5, Kevin. You mentioned good kicking. They've hit the post twice.
Well, they've had scoring opportunities.
Yeah, they've been very good.
And the Hawks, of course, with 18 scoring shots as well. They've had 9 individual goal kickers, Sydney.
Williams gets a new jumper, courtesy of the fracas with Guerra, as the kick goes towards Crode, who stopped, propped and marked it with one hand. Excellent work from Trent Crode. Now high ball, centering. Franklin arrives late in the way. Ted Richards and takes a good mark.
So he's a much improved player, Crode, isn't he? I mean, last year he was All-Australian centre-half back. There was a time, David, where people said he was just an athlete and had no idea how to play the game. He's worked hard, hasn't he, since he's returned to Hawthorn?
And been one of the really big turnarounds in footy. I mean, he has become a real footballer, key at both ends, can play, and he's developed his game. And it's a credit to him, really.
Jolly from half-back. O'Keefe, very strong overhead for his size, beaten this time by Sewell, who's got pace. Some run for the Hawks from half-back, just drops the ball in. And Jacobs, of course, wrapped up in the tackle.
It was well done by Sewell, as you called it, Kevin. He just put it under his arm and took off, made something happen up forward.
He's a handy player, Sewell. He seems to be one of those players that plays at the same level week in, week out. Good, honest player for the Hawks.
Yeah, and a bit of toe too, which goes. And the other one we should talk about, but Richards is fitting in better and better, isn't it? I thought his career had gone past him. I didn't know where he could play, and he's now doing a very, very competent job for the Swans.
There's a little bit of what they've done with Craig Bolton.
Yes,
the same with Ted Richards.
Yes, exactly.
They seem to recruit a player and play him. They've got a position for him. That's why they recruit him. Franklin stood his ground in front. Buchanan breaks the tackle. Great presence of mind. Leo Barry wants to draw an opponent. Doesn't get his wish. Crow did well. Force him to kick the ball wide. Chance for Williams.
There's the speed there, Kevin.
Just ran away from Fosdyke. Finds Crawford. Into the pocket. Looking for Roughhead. The early leap at that time was Adam Goods. Campbell, Brown, back to Kane. Run down on this occasion by Crouch.
The Hawthorn supporters have jumped out of the chair there. They thought that Adam Goods may have got into Crow's back.
Leapt early.
Went very early and pulled up on a tough holding the ball decision there.
You'd be very unhappy if they did that to you, Alistair. Jumped. It was an unrealistic attempt. He went 25 minutes early and didn't mark it. Free kick, automatic.
Ted Richards goes into the pocket. Finds Fosdyke. 15-5-95 plays 7-11-53. We're played nearly 13 minutes into this final term. Sydney Swans by 42 points.
And you cannot question the endeavour from the Hawks. They've got a young team. They've worked hard. They just haven't had the polish in skills moving forward and haven't been able to convert their opportunities.
10 marks to Adam Goods, 21 possessions. In front is Jude Bolton. Coming off a big game last week at 32 possessions. Tonight, just 15. McVeigh wants it short. He's got it. That was a long, long lead from McVeigh. Ran a good 50 metres.
That's the thing the Swans players right across the field do. They work hard. They pump out multiple leads, whether it's at the ball or away from it, to open space for their teammate.
Sewell on centre wing. Gets good support from Guerra. And the Swans fans will love that, sailing out on the full. Heavy collision with Roberts-Thompson in this last quarter. Certainly that will be looked at. Snyder has got it at centre half-back.
Sydney quite prepared to just hang on to the footy at the moment, given we're halfway through this last term and the margin is 42.
Just starting to rain down here, guys.
Williams straight on the ground and presents for Goods. Too low for Hall? No, just getting there. Sliding in. Again, possession. Measured kick is a good one. Williams should run on. Open forward line.
Once again, Sydney have moved forward. They haven't just chipped it sideways. The Hawks have pushed up to make it a one-on-one contest, so the Swans must go forward.
And they've opened their forward 50 up. All their players are just outside the forward 50, and they've only got two inside the forward 50.
This is where it's dangerous.
Yep. This is Buchanan.
Very fortunate for the Hawks. He's lost his boot there.
Because they had a situation where it would have been a one-on-one lead into a little bit of space. In the end, Hawthorn now will just stream back. Guerra a bit proppy on the mark. Kennelly, hard running. Tough from there, though. Now, can Schneider get home from here? He is a good kick.
He won't look to, I don't think.
No.
He'll keep picking off players inside 50.
No one at the goal square. Now there is. Schneider. Waited. Missed his target. A chance though. Matthews got it from Kirk. Spinning out of trouble. O'Keefe. Good from here, O'Keefe. And good again. One of those situations where when there's a little bit of traffic, the ball ends up in the hands of the right bloke at the right time.
Without doubt, and we talk about the Sydney Swans playing this team-orientated play week in, week out. They know that Schneider from 55 metres out is probably a 2 in 10 chance. They're prepared to risk the turnover to find a target inside 50, preferably dead in front. Just good work. They are always thinking about their team, and therefore they get another goal.
And you see the rain tumbling down. Brent Guerra also has left the field, just injured himself just a few moments ago. 10 individual goal kickers for the Swans. 101 plays, 53. They lead by 48 points after leading by 40 points at three-quarter time. 21 at half-time. It was a 29-point lead at quarter time. And here's Barry Hall. Traps the ball inside 50. Wants to get around Campbell. Stood his ground well. That's a great kick. He's bending it back. Big Bad Barry's kicked a goal. Three goals to Barry Hall. He's kicked 33 goals for the season.
He has, and he's had a reasonable night. It has been a good contest from young Campbell, but 16 possessions, 9 marks, 3 goals, 1. Very good play, and once again the polish of the Swans forwards to make the most of every opportunity they get. See Barry Hall, no space to work in, but just on that very strong right boot, slotted one through.
Goal number 450 for Barry Hall in his 100th game here for his second club, the Sydney Swans, and it was a good one at that. And they're running now. Kirk to Buchanan. Rain getting much heavier. Jolly just went to ground a little bit early. Jacobs back to Smith. Got a couple of players to pick from. One of them is Mitchell. Can go wider to Clark. Margin 54 points, 9 straight goals, and last 2 times these teams met, margin was 54 last time and 63 the time before that. So Sydney quite comfortable against the Hawks at the moment. Kane playing on quickly. High ball. Roughhead to target. Richards involved. Crouch there as well. Roughhead goes again. Crode waiting. Richards just went in and picked it up and then gave it back to Kennelly. And the Sydney defence again resolute. Barry had a pretty quiet night, hasn't had a lot to do. And he searches for and finds the boundary. Just dominated in the last 5 or so minutes, the Swans. 17-5, terrific in front of goal. Chambers in front of Everett. Lewis didn't take it. Clark did. High ball. Waiting. Kane should have got a free kick and does against Buchanan. Playing on. Clark inside 50. Nice dribbles it along the ground. No one there though for Hawthorn. Goods. A little bit casual from Schneider. Matthews. Not sure about that kick. They're all headed down the middle there, the Swans, and Matthews decided to go wide.
Swans by 54 points, 53 plays, 107. 4 goals Nick Davis, 3 to Barry Hall, 3 goals also to Michael O'Loughlin. And for the Hawks, 2 to Mark Williams, their only multiple goal kicker tonight. Snyder had it and lost it. Mitchell trying to bullock his way through. Caught in the act by Chambers. Birchall. Sliding onto the ball is Ty Kennelly. Kirk strutting his stuff in close. Strong play by Kane. Young man with a future. To Sewell. Continues to work hard. Trapped in the centre square. Goes wide. That's a good kick. And Trent Crode runs onto the ball.
He's been excellent, Sewell. You called that early. He's got a good finish to his work as well.
Goes short. Not a good decision. A lot of players around the ball. Putting his body on the line again is Crode. Now caught in 2 minds. Tried to find Chance Bateman. Finally, we've got a toss back in.
He looks worn out. His first game back. He's worked reasonably hard. From that position, though, he probably, as a key forward, have a shot on goal.
Well, he's taken 6 marks. He's had it 12 times tonight as Trent Crode in his comeback game. He's also kicked a goal.
If you look at the leading stats winners for the Hawthorn Football Club, and there's some young talent there. Lewis, Brown, Kane, Sewell. all have had plenty of the ball.
Peter Everett getting a shove out from Chambers, takes the free kick. Beat it just the 3 goals for the season. Game number 247 tonight. Stick one behind. That came in the 3rd term. He'll stand right on 50. Going right to the line, so a big pack of players. And Adam Good's happy to just slap the ball through. In fact, he hit the behind post. So we've got a boundary throw in. So a chance for the Hawks. Taylor to do the ruck work. Works his way to the front. Goods wrapped up in the tackle. It was a great tackle by Hodge. Teddy Richards goes to ground. Taylor wants a free kick. They've got a ball up just outside the goal square.
Ablett and Hodge have been together for the entire evening. Chance for Hawthorn here directly in front of goal though. Williams couldn't get past Ablett. Everett there. Hodge in over the top of Buchanan. They roll over. The ball spills out. Williams, intelligent play to Kane, to Clark. They're trying to keep it alive. Brown, wider. Ladson just slipped. Richards has given up. Ladson gets a second go. Hooks it round, wants Williams, and here they come, the Swans. They arrived in numbers, and they finally clear it. And it's Barry. He wanted a runner. Kirk. Roberts Thompson. Bolton. Long kick. Hall got to beat 2. One of them arriving was Jacobs. It falls for Barry Hall. Who kicks his 4th? A lucky one for the big man.
That is just sapping for the Hawthorn Footy Club. They had a number of stoppages in their forward 50. A little mistake again, just the skill errors, couldn't find their teammate by hand, and just the transition once again of the class of the Sydney Swans to get it forward. Barry Hall just scrubbed one through, just done enough to kick another goal. They've been very good, the Sydney Swans. Just, they're not rewarded for their hard work, the Hawks.
Jeff Kennett says, I've seen enough.
Well, the contrast with that is Williams got a high ball. You could hear the cavalry coming from about 40 metres away. Had to work so hard. Straight down the other end, and Hall gets the one out the back.
4 goals to Barry Hall. They now lead by 10 goals. 60 points. Here's a chance. O'Keefe. Barry Hall's getting back. He's got a chance in the pocket. Shares the ball around to Fosdyke. Hall twisting and turning. Chance for Roberts Thompson. Then over the top, McVeigh paddling the ball along in front. Finally forced over by Sam Mitchell. 34 goals for the season to Barry Hall.
He just works so hard, whether he's in possession or not, and that's why Campbell's just got to stay with him. You'd hate to see Barry get 6 goals for Campbell's development. He's been better than that.
24 minutes gone in this last term. Lewis continues to work hard. Possession number 29. Adam Goods just playing in front of Franklin.
Terrific last quarter from Goods.
He's got 24 possessions. Spots up Leo Barry. Hard man to match up to, Adam Goods. It's not quite, I mean, virtually plays as a wingman. He plays across half-back. He plays on the forward line. Here's a chance for O'Keefe, finding space.
They do it beautifully around here, don't they? You're right, Alice. They're as good as anybody in the competition, with every one of the opposition basically, well, they are at the moment inside their forward 50. They can still find the usable player. Just terrific footy in the modern game, and how difficult that is.
O'Keefe has kicked 1 goal. It's come in this last term. Usually he's a very, very good kick. Hammers it home. The margin, 11 goals.
Really, I guess Sydney would be very pleased. I mean, I think they've worked consistently hard. The Hawks have come at them a couple of times, but the difference now is between the team that won the premiership last year, that's what the scoreboard's saying, and a team that finished basically in the bottom 2 or 3 or 4, whatever it was last year. And I think the scoreboard now does reflect the difference between the two combinations.
It's been a big second half by Sydney. 7 goals in the third quarter, and now another 5 here. Lewis went off the ground for Hawthorn, and Crouch did likewise to try and clear it. Kennelly Dixon on his hammer. And was it well disguised? It was. Quick glance from Tokenelli, the umpire.
Hawthorn have worked hard, but it's the work ethic of the Sydney Swans when they don't have the ball, that unrewarded personal running, that they work hard just to help someone else out get in a better position.
Hodge did well. He kept it going. It was Clark. Williams. There's a whistle. It's a Sydney free kick. Hodge is bemused. Just over 2 minutes remaining. As Kevin mentions, 11-goal margin. It's another big win for Sydney as they continue this rise up the AFL ladder. Another big loss for the Hawks as they continue to descend. And
Barry Hall comes off for a spell. A solid night out with the 4 goals. And I think young Campbell will be fairly relieved to see the end of Barry Hall for a few minutes.
You never know, he might go up and kick one himself. This is Joel Smith.
Well, he's pushing forward.
He's going to get it here. Hodge, high ball. Floating in from the side, Roughhead.
Well, that's a good sign for the future, isn't it? I think, you know, that's a difficult mark in a fairly crowded area to go sideways and up and take it as cleanly in these conditions. Shows excellent hands, excellent courage. Very good sign. Very good sign.
Jared Roughhead.
And not so good a sign.
Disappointing. He deserved a goal, that mark. Kicked a goal in the 3rd term. Deserved to get his 2nd.
He was just spinning the ball as he was walking in his hands. It was, I'm not quite certain whether it's through nerves, but never really got the ball settled in his hands before kicking it. Here's Adam Goods. He just continues to run and find space. It's always hard to find an opponent for Adam Goods.
Well, you've got to make the choice. Do you want someone as big as him to stop him from marking deep in the forward line, or you need someone to run with him?
And Franklin sees the ball over.
There's not too many players in the competition that can do both.
And I think everybody recognises that. That's always the most difficult man to match up when you come to select your team.
Sydney buys 65 points. Taylor and Jolly. Taylor got his hands on it. Hodge trying to work hard to Franklin. His first game for the season. This young man has got a lot of talent. He's part of the future for the Hawks. Dixon, wise head, trying to find Campbell Brown. I think they've got a good future, David, with Jared Roughhead and Jordan Lewis and Lance Franklin, and of course all the young boys from the draft this year that they haven't seen yet. Bo Dowler, we're told, is starting to play a few games.
I think their future will be good. We just got to wait.
Williams dragged down the tackle that time by Ladson. There's a bit of frustration creeps into the side from time to time.
Yes, I think their work last week was very undisciplined.
Here's Adam Goods. Make that possession number 28 as the siren sounds. Big smile on the face of Barry Hall. Been a wonderful night for Sydney, 19,519. The Hawks 7-12-54 with Big Bad Barry kicking 4 goals. His partner in crime was Nick Davis with 4 and 3 goals to Mike O'Loughlin. Major goal kickers for the Swans. And for Hawthorn, it was Mark Williams, 2 goals. Their only multiple goal kicker.
5 in a row to the Sydney Swans. Adam Goods finished with a great last quarter, 28 disposals for the game. And they take on the Kangaroos next week at Monica. And again, they'll be favoured for that, so they can continue on this terrific winning run. And they are one of the teams to beat for the 2006 Premiership. Make no mistake about that. There's some good teams going around at the moment. They are one of them.
5 games on the trot.
Yep. And the Hawks, well, they have to just take stock. They take on the Western Bulldogs at the Dome on Saturday. That's not a good sign for Brent Guerra. Ice heavily attached to his groin, but another win for the Sydney Swans, and one of their co-captains is with Tiffany Cherry.
Well, Freddie, it's a scene of one of the club's greatest ever triumphs. Great to be back.
Yeah, we knew it would be a hard-fought win tonight, and we knew Hawthorn were going to be physical and serve it up to us, but to the credit of the guys, we really put our head over the footy, and yeah, good win tonight.
And you've won your last 4 games by an average of 50 points. You've increased that margin tonight. The forward line's firing really well.
Yeah, like Hall, Davis, Pep, Ryan O'Keefe, they're all great players, and yeah, so it's pretty hard to match up on them.
And personally for you, you've shut down one of the best playmakers in the competition in Sammy Mitchell. A great game.
Sammy's a great player, and yeah, it's got a bit of his influence tonight.